Hello everybody, and welcome. Welcome to another Monster Hunter podcast. My name is Rist Phal. Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Thanks for coming in this evening. Tonight we're going to be doing another Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, as of yet unnamed, podcast with our friend Phal, and we're going to be jumping into a call with him here very shortly. We also have kind of exciting new emote from our friend Uchi here in the chat. It'd be hard for you guys to see otherwise, so I guess I had to point it out for you guys. Very sneaky emote, that one. I hope you guys enjoy it. Oh, I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I had a decently restful one. I think tonight's cast will be a good time, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on over to the game here and give you guys some beans real quick. And say hello. So hello, Uchi vs. the world. Uchi, thank you so much for working so hard on that emote. It looks awesome. Hello, Walking on the Sun. Hello, Phallison, if you're listening. Hello, Patty. Biotech Iced Tea Drinker. Didya Artist. I think that's everyone who said hello so far. We'll see who else rolls in here as we begin the cast. I'm going to go ahead and ping Mr. Phallison. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and undeafen here so that whenever he pops in, we're going to be good to go.
Alright, I'm undeafened. I am the opposite of deafened.
Hello, Mr. Phal. How you doing?
Oh, I'm alive. I'm still kicking.
Good. I'm glad of it. Welcome.
How are you?
Welcome yourself to another podcast.
Yeah, a yup. It seems like a fun acronym.
As of yet, unnamed podcast. A yup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we can stick with that for too long.
Yeah, okay. What is this, episode 6?
I don't even know. I think it's 6.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's like 3 months of it. I think if we don't change its name soon, it's gonna get used to it, and it won't come to anything else.
It's okay. By next week, we will, or by the next cast, we will absolutely have a name.
Yeah, alright.
Alright.
I like the way you think. Alright,
well.
Hello Rist. Hello Rist's chat. I hope you are all the best. I hope that everything is going the bee's knees. Rist Redo, could you please tell me what you've been up to these past 2 weeks? I know we were meant to do another super secret bonus episode last week, but unfortunately, life gets in the way, as is tradition.
Well, I guess I've been playing more of this game in my main free time, my stream time. We've gotten through the beginning of high rank, and I collected a lot of low rank weapons, and I've just been having a good time with it. I finally got to make my first mix set, which to me is, I don't know, a really fun part of Monster Hunter. So I'm chuffed. I'm pleased with this game right now. I've also
Outstanding.
Also been checking out the new Halo that came out sometime in the last week. It's a free to play like multiplayer thing, and I've been checking it out. First time I've played a shooter in a long time, and it's been a good time.
Yeah, I downloaded it from when we talked about it a bit before, and as you know, I sent my dope stats. Went 23 and 12 in my third game, which is tradition. Once you download a new shooter, you go real well, and then probably I'll never be good again. But I just want everyone to know I'm the ultimate Halo. I'm John Halo, and
you heard it here first.
I'm gonna shoot you one time, and it's gonna be fun.
Sometime we'll play with that. I doubt we'll stream that, but we'll have a good time playing off stream.
Oh yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to talk, play Halo, and do each other's hair. Not for the enjoyment of Uchi versus the world, looking through his binoculars at his computer screen, like the voyeur that he is, watching us play Monster Hunter. Anyway, enough of whatever that particular analogy was.
Good intro. How have you been, Mr. Phallison? What have you been up to these last 2 weeks since we've last played?
They've been an incredibly rough past couple of weeks. I didn't stream much last week. I had some personal business to take care of. But as for like a good thing, I finally cleared that UCOB thing in Final Fantasy XIV that I was talking about, which is nice. That's a load off my shoulder.
Nice.
Getting geared up for the charity stream this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited. These are gonna be good things. So we're closing out November with a bang.
Nice.
But I'm excited to play some Monster Hunter. I'm excited to fight a Duramboros. I've been farming up some weapons, and it's been good stuff.
Yep. Mr. Fallison here is trying to make the Jupiter Sphere hammer, and so we need to obtain a Duramboros tailbone, which is his rare. That's our first goal for the evening, is jumping in here to the hub. This is a low-ranked Duramboros, and we're going to be trying to get his rare drop. Oh, did you bring capture stuff? Because I sure didn't.
I intentionally, I assure you, brought exactly one shock trap.
Did you bring trank bombs?
I intentionally, I assure you, brought exactly 4 trank bombs.
Perfect. That's exactly what I would have brought. A man after my own heart. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. I always bring capture stuff because I love to capture monsters. Yep, that's me. Monster capture and foul.
Alright, here he is. He's huge.
I didn't mean to bring Gunlance, but that's okay.
I think Gunlance is pretty decent on him since he has hit zones that are kind of lackluster.
Yeah, they're pretty not good.
It's okay, we got 2 of us. I'm in my first high rank armor set. We're gonna be fine.
I'm still wearing my Baroth gear. I'm going strong. I'm doing a full burst. Well,
you full bursted me right into him. Yeah, yeah.
But
it's
I
all
knocked
good.
him down, so that was pretty cool. I am sorry.
It's okay.
I'm a monster.
It's okay. I'm gonna break his horns. I'm gonna work on some other part breaks.
Typical Gunlancer.
Like I said last time, it's exactly what a Gunlancer would do.
Yeah, they would blast you halfway across the stratosphere.
Alright, I'm gonna try and get him out of this corner here. But yeah, I guess to those of you who are just joining us, welcome into the as of yet unnamed, still, 3 Ultimate cast. I think Phal and I have both had kind of a funky couple last weeks. I know I was trying to, this sounds silly in hindsight, but I was trying to like fix my sleep schedule last week and somehow made it way, way worse. So I've had kind of a weird off week or two. I don't know, I feel like everyone has times where they...
I'm a scumbag.
It's okay, you saved me from getting hit by him. You saved me from getting hit by him. I feel like everyone has weeks and times where they kind of just feel off for like not even just 1 week, but like several weeks at a time. And I know that's where we've been.
Yeah, I think also working 7 years of like 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. work has forever warped me. I think I'm a changed man. I'm always destined to be a night owl, and I actually do like being up late, but this is a couple of things that necessitate me being awake, you know, as the sun is coming up, instead of going to bed at that time.
Whoops.
So, it's nice. It's nice. But, as for Monster Hunter, how are you enjoying for you, just generally speaking? Are you finding that the experience itself is still tickling you? Are the grievances starting to wear in? Have you experienced much in the way of new content monsters that you're excited for?
Yeah, actually, this past week I finished collecting my long list of weapons. I guess there was 1 or 2 weapons I actually didn't get at the end of all that, but I did finish most of the list, and we started our high rank village progression this week, and it's been really fun so far. Making this mixed set was a pretty big highlight for me, but outside of that, Pink Rathian is a monster they throw at you very early, and she's quite challenging. She's got some very aggressive patterns, and I was versing her primarily in low rank armor, which made the experience pretty difficult. I had a great time with it. It was exciting, and then on top of that, I actually slayed my first Devil Joe.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I like Devil Joe in this game.
He intruded into the Jagia quest. That's a key. That's a key village quest there. I had no idea he was going to be there, but we stuck it out in some low rank gear, and we took him out. It's the first time I've ever felt like I was half decent at Devil Joe.
Yeah, Joe is a spicy boy.
He's one of my personal demons in the series. Like for a long time, I would just avoid him at all costs, even if he was like a key quest or something. I would just cheese him, and I would never fight him again because I didn't like him. I didn't like how he moved. Didn't like his armor. Didn't like his weapons. Feels good to have gotten a lot better at it.
He's too tall. Not to sound like a manlet. Not to sound like I'm 5'11" and he's 6'2", picking up all of the Tinder babes. But he's too tall. You can't hit him, especially as a sword and shield user. He makes me upset.
I was lucky enough to have Longsword on my random gathering quest that he intruded into, so I was okay.
I broke his hole.
Do you have pickaxes with you?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'll let you know when I get the first.
A monster.
I'll let you know when I get the first tail break so that you can go and try and mine his tail for that tailbone.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Ice-T Trinker says that... Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No. I want to hear what Ice-T Trinker has
Just a little tidbit in the chat. Personal Demon, they said it was an interesting choice of words since in German, Devil Joe's name translates to Demon Joe.
Oh.
Which makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. I always wondered what the Joe part. But I suppose it's probably nothing of substance.
Yeah, it could have something to do with like kaiju monsters. That would be my one guess. Is maybe it's some kind of thing that makes him sound like a kaiju monster in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could see that. Anyway, what I was gonna say was...
Yeah, you go ahead.
Given this is my third playthrough of 3U, I have elected to step outside of my comfort zone a bit and play more weapons. Because typically when it comes to 3U, I just stick to Sword and Shield. And you know what? I've been having the best time. I've been really enjoying Lance in this playthrough. It's a weapon I typically don't give the love and attention that it deserves.
I've been noticing that I've been neglecting Lance as of late, so I would like to get better at it myself. That is the first tail break, so the next time that he flies up in the air and slams down, try and make sure you run over and nab a mining attempt off his tail.
I'm gonna. This ain't my first rodeo, baby.
Of course, you know how to fight Duranbros. I guess I'm just telling you to, so that we can make sure we get you your tailbone.
I would like my tailbone, you're right. I've never played Hammer in this series, or in this game, all that much. Like, yeah, I'm been enjoying doing this podcast, like as an excuse to A, play more 3U, and B, play it in ways that I would not normally. So that's been exciting. I actually got to the Sedeus Urgent.
Nice, in Village?
Yeah.
So you're just about done with low rank Village?
Yeah, I kind of speedran it.
That's okay.
To catch up. I would say I'm all caught up now.
Nice. Yeah, I would say you are as well.
Which is, it's nice. And experiencing some of the monsters in that way, with like weapons I hadn't played, it's been really cool. Like, I'd poked Rathalos out of the air with certain weapons before, but it didn't quite feel as, with a lance specifically.
Gotcha.
It never felt quite as good until doing it in 3U. Truth be told.
That's definitely the way that I feel like I get the most variety out of Monster Hunter, is whenever I'm feeling like a little bit sick of a fight, learning it with a different weapon is a surefire way of making myself enjoy it a lot more. Well, I don't know about enjoy it a lot more, but at least keeping things fresh. Sometimes it's tougher depending on the matchup, but you know.
I think that's part of where the fighting game comparison comes in. If you get bored of something, you just swap characters. Alright, you big dork, put your tail back down on the ground.
We have to fail. Next time he does the spin, we just have to fail it and let him go up in the air instead. This time, if he does it, he's going to fall over though, because he's tired. So he probably won't. Yeah, bummer.
Whatever, I'm gonna attack his humps.
Me too. Sorry if I tripped you. Oh, there we go. Payback. He's real tired.
I wonder.
Oh, is that a sleep knife?
Yeah.
Good stuff. I don't think you can mine it right now. That'd be cool if you could. You should be able to.
You should be able to.
We should get a wake up mine. It should do like 2 damage to him.
You should just stay asleep. Alright, I'll full burst his dome.
Do it. I'll get a sick EI Spirit Slash right off of that.
I'll throw my last sleep knife at him because I can, and it seems like fun.
It does seem like fun. I do that too. It's like you have a little projectile in your inventory, why not use it?
Well, that wasn't your tune when we were doing exclusively kunai only bishop.
Oh, well that was boring.
I had fun.
I'm glad you had fun.
Man, I'd be interested.
Here we go. Get ready to get it.
See what they do with that. Oh,
go mine.
There,
go get it.
It appears
it's out of bounds. No!
What a rascal.
He is a rascal. He knows exactly what he's doing.
I'm scared that he's gonna die as well?
No, we're not doing that much damage. We just broke his humps. Okay, let him do this.
How did you make that work? Yeah, I'm just tucking myself in, making myself cozy.
Here he goes. Get that carve.
Alright. There's one. Old pickaxe is broken. I got a tail case.
I got a tail case as well. Alright, now let's knock that thing off. That tail off.
Yeah. Let's go.
Oh, I should sharpen.
The world's cutest gamer comes into my chat to say, I'm here to learn about the Sonic crossover.
Oh no.
How excited for the Sonic crossover are you?
I'm not excited about the Sonic crossover.
Why not?
I don't particularly like Sonic the Hedgehog, and the idea of riding Tails in a Monster Hunter game is slightly cursed.
There is one benefit to be had from it. We now know how a dog would wear pants.
Oh my god. What year was that meme from? I remember that was like the meme at like New Year's Day. Maybe it was like 2016. I can't remember.
New Year's Day.
It was either the last meme of the outgoing year or it was the incoming first meme of the new year. And I was in like high school and I was like, hey, this is great.
You know, memes, they come and go. I hope orb pondering meme never goes. I love to ponder the orb. You know, they could make that Monster Hunter related.
I guess folks in either chat, feel free and let us know if there's any audio issues we gotta take care of here. Let us know how it sounds to you. Make sure everything's okay. Know about orb pondering? I don't know about orb pondering.
Oh, so you had to wait for Uchi to say something to even ask. You just assumed I was rambling on about nothing again.
I don't know what it was.
Okay, get this. There's a wizard man, and he has an orb of which he ponders, and that's the whole thing.
Ah, so it's like albumin.
No, it's not used exclusively by me.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so there's a guy, right? And he's pondering his orb. And sometimes, you know, I feel like it speaks to the human experience. Sometimes, brothers just want to ponder their orb. You want to shirk your responsibility, not play Monster Hunter, not do your work, you just want to ponder the orb. You're going to see this meme everywhere in about 2 weeks.
Oh no.
And you're going to be really annoyed, but simultaneously glad that your podcast co-host isn't an insane, rambling person who talks about literally nothing.
I don't know. You know what? I don't really go as many places that have memes anymore.
That's fair. I guess I'll just send you old memes.
Okay, then I guess I'll still get them, won't I? I'll have no idea of their legitimacy, but I'll still get them. Ouch, that sucked.
Got a good point.
You go to Twitter? I'm trying to go to Twitter less, Uchi.
Yeah,
I've been working on my socials, on my social media presence, trying to just be on those things way less.
He keeps sticking his tail out of the thing.
Too easy to get mad at people who I don't even know on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's just not healthy energy.
You're right. It's always some kind of discourse. Oh yeah?
Dude, this game drops to like single-digit frames as his tail goes by you. It's insane.
Yeah, it is a dummy thick tail.
So thick the frames just drop all the way.
There we go.
Nice.
Look at us game.
Look out.
I was thinking of hero carving, but I'm glad that I didn't. Ruchi, you can turn that off. Another tail case.
It's okay. We still got some chances. We got a 6% chance. We got a 6% chance if you cap him. We have a 1% chance from the quest. If we end up accidentally killing him, it's going to be a 4% chance.
Capture him it is.
Dude, he's so freaking cool.
You've activated my trap card.
He is just the coolest monster.
I do like the Ramboros. I think there was a long period of time where I was like, no, he has too much health and he upsets me. Nah, he's cool. He's a nice guy.
That's a valid feeling though, especially when you're getting used to him. Like if you bring the wrong equipment, you can have some horrid quests against Ramboros.
He does have like he does probably have too much health. Like, I went in last night with my Barrioth switch axe. I was like, yeah, you know, like, how long can it take? You know, I was doing relatively decent damage on him, not getting smacked around too much. This dude still took me 40 minutes.
Yep.
I was still concerned that I was going to time out.
Yep. There's a quest with 2 of these things in Portable Third's hub, and I was tasked with doing it with Hunting Horn, and it's never left me. That unfortunate memory lives in my head rent-free. I had to try it like 4 times before we actually got the clear, and I didn't time out.
I'm often convinced that Rust Duramboros, you can't actually kill him. He just doesn't die.
I've never even seen one.
Oh, sorry for mentioning him then.
No, you're okay.
Kept my mouth shut.
You're okay. I like that we both have a bit of Barroth in our armor. It makes me happy.
Well, yeah. Okay. Do I trust that he's not going to run away?
I think so. He's slow. He wouldn't run. Here he comes.
I don't know, man. All right. I'm a believer.
He's going to fall over, I think. Yeah.
Well, he has to walk over here at some point.
I'm just gonna sit back.
Yeah. Oh, apparently my character's cranky because he's hungry.
Helps if you eat, yeah.
Well, I could have done that. Or alternatively, I could have greeted for my epic DPS uptime.
Nice. Good job.
We've done it. Easiest Duram of my entire existence. Anyway, we're basically professional speedrunners now.
Okay. Nah, ask ProCow about Durambro speedruns.
Hey ProCow, are you there?
I don't think ProCow. I haven't seen ProCow come in yet today.
Good. Not good, but like, I'm good to ask. I now realize how that sounded. No, I like ProCow. I'm pro ProCow.
Me too.
Oh.
No, ProCow. You go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, we've got some fun topics lined up for today. When we get into the next hunt, you gamers are gonna be able to give us your input on our inputs. And I can't wait to hear it. I think we've got some fun things.
Yeah, we have some fun things to talk about tonight. Before we do that though, Fallison, I need to hear about one good thing from your week.
I cleared the unending coil of Muhammad in Biddy game. It took like 2 months of progging with my friends. We got the tailbone,
Did
boys!
you? Hell
That's
yeah.
the good thing. Yeah, let's go. Never mind. That's my good thing. But yeah, UPub was like... So imagine a fight where you have to play... And it's like a mechanic every 40 seconds that can reset you back to the beginning if you make one mistake and 1 of 7 other people make that mistake. For clarity, like, on any given data center, it has a 2% clear rate of all of the players on that data center.
Okay, that's not very
So
high.
I did that thing. So I feel pretty good about that.
Nice.
And the best part is, you just get a title that says the legend, and I don't even want it. I just wanted to do it. So I was pretty thrilled to have done that. What about you, bud? And, of course, chat.
Feel free, folks in chat, to share. We'll talk with y'all a little bit about before we start this next topic here, but feel free and sound off if you have anything particularly joyous to share this particular week that happened to you. I think it's nice to get to think back on it and go, oh yeah, I guess there was some nice things that happened to me. I got to celebrate a longtime friend on Twitch, Basil Boy's birthday a day or two ago, and we did some really fun stuff in Monster Hunter Portable Third. We hunted a Latrian, and I did a really, really hard Amatsu with Hunting Horn, which was a surprisingly difficult matchup. And we had to work at it for a while, but I did eventually clear it, and I really enjoyed myself, and I think they did too.
Yeah, Basil's a good egg. I'm glad.
Everything looks so nice on Wii U.
Okay, well, that's a Jupiter's sphere.
You got it made?
Yeah, I got it.
Are you gonna use it on this next quest?
Sure. Post the next quest. That's I never play Hammer in like any game ever, so I'm excited. Hammer is like a sleeper hit for me. I very rarely play it, but whenever I do, I have a really good time. One king. Oh, look at these fellas.
The Bang Bros.
Believe it or not, this is what peak male performance looks like.
Oh wait, huh? I guess there's no. I guess we already did the urgent. What was the urgent? Huh?
I think that was the. Was it the double Rathian?
It might have been. I forget. Well, what do you want our first high rank hunt to be? Some of these guys I haven't fought in high rank yet. Like, I haven't done Plesioth or Golbol. We could do Pink Rathian if you want to do something tough, or if you want to do something a little less tough, we could do Double Baroth. The Mud Brothers. The Bang Brothers versus the Mud Brothers.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Double Baroth, smacking them in the dome? That feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
By the way...
Oh, you go ahead.
G-Rank Baroth is my least favorite monster in this game.
I'm excited to get to see him someday.
Yeah. Yeah. He's something.
Patty said they had a really nice day today. Waking up late, having lunch, making coffee, having a nice shower, and then drinking the coffee. You know what? Another nice thing about my week, I had a shower coffee this week.
A coffee in the shower?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's living.
It really was. I don't have very many days off, but it was nice.
I'm glad you.
I made myself a nice, cozy coffee, Uchi, and I drank it in a nice, cozy shower, and it was good.
You know what? I admire you so much for coming in here and just being honest with me. Just saying, I drank a coffee in the shower. Free, like, knowing that the world is gonna judge you, but I will not.
I think it's a normal thing. What, have y'all never heard? I mean, like, I've never had a shower beer, but I've heard of a shower beer. Don't make me, don't act like a coffee is that much different.
I'm not pretending it's different. I'm also like, here's my main issue with it. You take this beverage of your choice into the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Invariably, you're either going to get cold on one side of your body or you're going to get shower water in your beverage. These are just some things that concern me, I suppose.
Okay, I can say that I did not get much shower water in the coffee.
Much.
I'm sure some water particles got in there. It was steamy.
Okay. All right, Uchi, you can't have.
Is this some millennial thing? I don't think so. I've heard people talk about shower beers before, where they have a beer in the shower.
Yeah, that sounds like a very Australian thing. Like, take a beer in the shower. I don't know.
I just take coffee because I don't drink beer.
Yeah, fair. Beer is trash.
Do you need a cool drink, Fallison?
No, I got one.
Okay. Just checking. Let's get it. Look at these dudes with their Jupiter spheres. How far can we go with food in the shower? I wouldn't eat food in the shower.
I wouldn't drink soup in the shower.
I guess that would be, you know what, that would be the in-between, is I guess I could drink soup.
I don't know. I feel like there's some foods you could eat in the shower. I'm not sure which ones would be appropriate, but...
Gogurt.
Like, you couldn't eat a sandwich because the water would drip down from your hands onto the bread and you would have soggy bread.
It would get really soggy.
The soup would get all diluted. I mean, you're not running it under the faucet.
No, you're holding it in the shower, but like, you're not holding it under the water.
Yeah. Let's not be savages.
I think you could have a Gogurt pretty easily in the shower.
I think a shower kebab would probably not go awry.
You said it would not go well, or it would not be bad?
Not go awry.
Yeah, I think it might be okay.
I could imagine eating a kebab in the shower, like 3 a.m.
Yeah. I feel like cold pizza would be too far. It would not. It would get soggy like the sandwich.
Old pizza?
Cold pizza.
Cold pizza. Yeah. The shower's a dangerous place. Yeah.
Ouch.
Just outing all these weirdos. Uchi, we gotta have people live life the way that they want to live life. It's not hurting anyone to take a coffee in the shower. It's not hurting anyone to insist that soup is a circle. It's, you know, all of these things are okay. Skewers? Not skewers. Like, apparently, when I say kebab, it means a different thing to Americans. When I say a kebab, I mean like a wrap with like lamb and lettuce and tomato and like garlic and chili sauce.
That's like a shawarma.
Yeah, I think that might be what you guys call it.
Shawarma.
Is it like, is shawarma a typical, like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm super drunk kind of food?
No.
Well, that's what a kebab is here. Sorry.
Okay. I think kebab
I'm not
must
even
be...
playing Unnamed.
Kebab must be unique to Australia then.
Yeah,
it sounds kind of like a gyro. It also sounds kind of like a shawarma sandwich.
That's it.
Oh, a gyro? You know, where I grew up, yeah, gyros were a 3 a.m. diner kind of thing. Now where I live now, there's no gyro to be had. Let's get him. We got knock. Yeah, there you go. We gotta knock this guy's head off.
I know it's not optimal, but yeah, let's spin. Spin.
Do it. I always spin.
Thank you. That's correct, Arcane. We have knocked this dude's block off, literally and figuratively.
We did.
That's
keep
what
going.
I'm talking about.
Let's knock another piece off.
I mean, what else can we knock off?
Just his head. More of his head. I feel like we can get away with knocking off more of his head.
Can you?
No, I'm joking.
I was gonna say, like, I was open to the idea that maybe I was just wrong.
No, it would be cool if you could keep chipping away his head, though. I mean, I guess we did chip off the mud and then off the head.
I think at some point, it's like, he becomes... I think that would be disturbing. At some
Yes,
point.
it would.
How do you feel about the small monsters who have, like, the death throes as you kill them, like Laranoth? They just thrash about as they've been murdered.
I feel badly about most of the monsters when I kill them, to be honest with you. Except for ones that are jerks to me. I don't feel bad when I kill a Devil Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. Old DJ.
I wonder if both of the Baroth are on the map at the same time.
I believe that they should be.
I wonder if we'll get actual cars in this quest. In the village, I saw something kind of curious happen in this game, which is, even though in other games it takes like 3 monsters in a quest to like give it where you stop getting carve rewards and you get mega potions instead. They're called epic hunting quests. In this game, I get a 2 monster quest and it did that to me. I was a little bit, I don't know, miffed. I wanted my carves instead. I got mega pots I didn't need.
Well, you always need mega pots.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I've only recently started using them in this playthrough. Once I got to high rank, I was like, okay, it's probably time for some mega pots.
All right.
How is Hammer feeling to you, Mr. Phal? Sorry.
I'm enjoying Hammer. My question was to you and because I've been thinking about it non-stop since I mentioned it before. What is dragon element? Like, obviously, fire is fire. You know, I can believe that something can breathe fire. I can believe something can spit water, electricity, poison, what have you. But what is dragon element? Ow.
I don't know. Arcane Doctrine has asked for my sets skills, and so I flashed them on the screen.
Oh, you have.
But I'm not sure.
Wide range and the Firefly one.
Not quite.
Yeah, it's a property of Elder. The same way fire is a property of fire monsters. But what is it?
I think it's just some kind of dragon energy. But that's what that's all I can say is just like dragon energy. I have no answer for you, Phallus.
I'm alright. But consider this. If it's just like dragon energy, would you say that that's rooted in fantasy as far as Monster Hunter goes? Not Monster Hunter is a fantasy game because of this one thing, but do you think that that's erring on the side of, like, well, fantasy things?
Sure.
Look at this dude limp away.
Did you carve the block?
Yep.
I don't know if I did. I would say, yes, I did. I would say that Monster Hunter, yeah, I would say like a variety of things put Monster Hunter at least tangentially sort of like in a fantasy game kind of realm.
It's hard to work out the tone of Mon Hun in that way, I guess.
It's called bioenergy, get it right, says Ice-T.
Oh yeah? Well, how come it says dragon? That's all I got. Sincerely, I don't know what it is. If anyone knows the lore on...
I don't believe there is any. That's okay, though. Oh, there's another Baroth in here. There's 2 Baroth heads next to one another.
There's potential that I forgot whetstones, and I've gone back to the box in the hopes that supplies have arrived. Supplies have not arrived.
You can gather whetstones, I think, in the central cave area, maybe.
Yeah.
Or if not that, then the area 6 cave. There should be a whetstone spot, I think, somewhere on this map. I'm gonna duo 2 Baroths while I wait for you.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
I guess I could also give you some whetstones.
I mean, not if you're gonna say it like that.
I'm gonna duo 2 Baroths at like 15 frames per second.
I'm coming. Maybe you need to...
This poor game.
Get a Wii U Pro.
I wish if there was one, I'd get one.
Well, don't worry. When they release the Switch Pro, they'll no doubt port this game.
Oh, I hope. Were you around for the Monster Hunter G on Steam rumors like a week or 2 ago?
Yeah, but I did think to myself, why are they gonna port like a 50-year-old game to Steam?
It would make no sense, right? It would be hilarious if that was the one that they chose to port. They've since come out and said that even though they had that listing mistakenly on their official website, it's not coming to Steam, which is exactly what they would say if they were porting G to Steam.
Oh, actually, yeah, no, completely truthful. They don't want you to know that they're secretly porting it to Steam so that you can all be miserable.
I don't know I don't really think they're working on any ports for Steam, honestly, but I do think it'd be really funny if people were just clamoring for 4U HD, and they were like, oh, you said G, right? Monster Hunter G for the PlayStation 2, right?
4's got a G in there somewhere.
Yeah, 4G. Yeah, that's what we thought you guys meant. 4G, G, same deal. I got scammed. Oh, he's dead.
I would like to watch people see that come out and then like watch the Monster Hunter G tab be flooded for like a day. And then people just be
3K viewers, Monster Hunter G.
Yeah, I would watch insert big streamer here. Yeah, Monster Hunter ports. I'm intrigued.
Have we talked about ports on stream before? Oh, you should carve sooner rather than later. The corpses despawn really fast in this game.
You're right.
Although, look out.
Oh, by the way, since you've mentioned it, you've blessed me with a curse. I'm aware of the input lag now.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
No, I think it is. I never noticed it. I never noticed it. And now I notice it, and it's a problem. Yeah.
I actually don't notice it as much when I play this game. I mainly notice the frame drops. The frame drops are so bad.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued for ports, but I'm still squarely in the camp of like, they don't really need them.
I just don't think they will.
I don't know. I'm torn because I wouldn't be fussed if they ported them, obviously, and I think that it's probably a good idea. No one really has a 3DS anymore. The Switch is a darn good console.
It is a good idea. I just don't think they'll do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea for the sake of preserving their own franchise, which I don't know that like seems to be I'm sure it's something they care about in one way or another. I don't know if it's something that they care about enough to invest the kind of money into it. For me, it always breaks down where, like, I've talked about this probably just a bajillion times on stream before, but of course it makes sense to port those games. There's a dedicated audience of people who either already played those games or who are very into Monster Hunter who would 100% buy and play those games. They would sell at least some. They would probably sell enough to cover the cost of just porting it as is. Like, no changes, just get it to run on PC and put it out, right? They'd probably cover the costs for the people who would already buy it anyways. And, like, that's something. That's not nothing. I don't think they'll do that. The reason I don't think they'll do that is that the number of people who will buy that, especially nowadays, compared to the number of people who like Monster Hunter, it's tiny. It's tiny. Like, the people who would buy unmodded, like, unchanged Monster Hunter G for the PS2, tiny. 4U is bigger, but it's still tiny compared to the number of people who like play Monster Hunter World and play Monster Hunter Rise. So when they look at that, they're gonna go, well, these people from World and Rise, they have these expectations. They might not change everything about the game, but maybe we'll change these one or two things. And I feel like as soon as you start getting people to work on the games to change them, it doesn't make any sense money-wise anymore. You'd have to make so many changes. Like you'd have to either make a few changes and go, well, I hope we make a little bit of money, or you'd have to make a ton of changes, which is expensive, and then go, well, we better make this money back. And at that point, it's just like they should just invest development in the next Monster Hunter game and like just port the monsters they want people to fight from that entry, which seems to be more of their strategy anyways.
Here's where that one sort of falls down for me. I would rather they port the games than the monsters themselves.
Me too. It's not like fighting Baroth in this game is nothing like fighting Baroth in 5th gen. So I'd rather them port this so I could experience this on like a PC where it would run not like butt, but like I just don't think they'll do it. Like I think that if they were more gung-ho about that, I think we would have already seen ports in the series. The only one you can even point to as like a port is Freedom Unite for iOS, and I would attribute that more to the fact that like everybody was like, consoles are dying, mobile is the way. You gotta get a game on mobile, my guy. Like I would attribute it to that more so than like them being passionate about porting a game to another platform.
Yeah, Capcom in general. They're just not big on ports, it would seem. Like, there's a couple of things, but like, looking at their... Hold on. Let me finish before you go. If we look at literally, like, all of the Resident Evil franchise and the stuff that's been ported there's quite a lot. There's no good ports of, like, Resident Evil 3, or 2, and 1 original. You have the PlayStation, like, emulator ones, but that's, like, just... hey, the PlayStation 4 is capable of, or the PlayStation 3 rather, is capable of running an emulator. They did a good job of porting Resident Evil 1 Remake. Past that, like, you know, find me a copy of Haunting Ground, find me a copy of Clock Tower 3, like, find me a copy of, like, any of the Mega Man X's. I suppose they're on the digital console for the Wii, but
you can't even buy that anymore.
Like, the digital consoles?
No, the Wii, you can't buy anything for the Wii anymore. They took it offline.
You can buy stuff for the Wii U. I recently
Wii U, but not Wii.
Yeah, sorry, I meant the Wii U. I meant the Wii U. But yeah, like Capcom, they seem pretty selective about what they'll port. Because dude, I'm an idiot, by the way. I said, oh, what about Mega Man X? There's actually 2 Mega Man X collections, and you can buy them on Steam. And then there's the Mega Man Zero. Yeah, don't mind me.
So I'm of two minds about that. I think Capcom does port quite a bit. Like, I think for many of their franchises, I think they do port their games maybe even too much. Something like Resident Evil 4 is on like every platform under the sun. Same thing with Street Fighter 2. There's two views about that. Either those series they just don't, like, they aren't quite as choosy about as they have been with Monster Hunter, and I attribute that to the fact that, like, Ryozo Sugimoto, who is a big part of this series, is related to some of the very largest higher ups at Capcom, to the point where they could be like, no, we don't want to just port this game for no reason, other than just, like, getting it on another platform. But also, I think a cynical view of it would be they only port games like that they know have made tons of money in the past and will make tons of money just by porting them to another platform. None of the Monster Hunter games until recently had sold that much. So maybe, here's my dark thought, here's my dark cynical thought, is maybe we'll be seeing Monster Hunter World ported to every platform under the sun for the rest of time.
Yeah, I doubt that for some reason. Like, they haven't done it for PS5, Xbox One yet. Like,
you can play...
It worked.
Yeah, you can play it on there and it runs really well.
It does run really well. I'm sorry for knocking you down.
It's okay.
But it hasn't gotten like a port. They haven't charged me additional money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, on current consoles that you can already play it on, like you can play it on those consoles no issue. They don't need to do a port. But I guess that's the cynical version for me, because like you look at something like Resident Evil 4 or Street Fighter 2 and it's like, well, why would they port those and not Monster Hunter? It's like, well, those have sold a lot more than Monster Hunter historically has.
Yeah, I'm
so
intrigued.
We'll see. Part of why I don't want that to happen is just I don't want them to dredge up that weird Frankenstein version of MT Framework that already can't run well on anything for another like 10 years. I don't want to keep seeing that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really the case. Gusatron says too cynical. I only voiced it because I thought it was an interesting thought. I don't actually believe that's the case.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, I suppose. How did GU sell compared to Rise?
Less than. I think
less than? Well, yeah, obviously. I guessed less than, but by how much?
I think the last I checked, I'd need to double check the numbers, which we can do on stream here. Too political for you? Oh, I'm sorry, Kermit. I try and stay away from that sort of stuff on the stream.
Yeah, I'm interested in Monster Hunter porting in general. And I truly do have like a split down the middle view on it. It's kind of like, why port the old games when you can just port the monsters? But also, I'm of the opinion it's like, yeah, just keep the monsters in their original, like, keep some of the monsters in, like Gogmazios, etc., in their original iteration, because that gives you a reason to go back and play those games, and that's what makes them special. So,
let's see. I'm not sure. I'm not sure by how much Rise has outsold Generations Ultimate and Generations. I would group all of the GU, so cross, double cross, GU, or Gen GU all together. I would need to look it up, but I think that they probably sold something like between 4 and 6 million copies, I think, and Rise is already at like 7.5 or 8, something like that.
Okay.
So by
and
a bit.
What was World at again? 20 million?
Yeah.
Or...
right. World is at 20. Uchi asked, what about MT Framework? And I said, part of why I wouldn't want to see World re-released forever and ever and ever under the sun is because they'd have to keep dredging up the Frankenstein version of MT Framework that World runs on.
Yeah, I've got a lot of feelings about the porting of Monster Hunter. Like, video game preservation is something I like the idea of because, well, you know, like all artwork, shall we say, your mileage may vary on that terminology. It doesn't deserve to be forgotten to the ether, even if, like, not pertaining to Monster Hunter, but just generally speaking, some of it's bad, or, you know, it's like seeing a person's older work. I think that's pretty interesting.
It is. It's important. I mean, like, I'm not against the idea of porting it. I guess I don't.
Oh, I don't think that's what you're saying.
I don't think it's gonna happen. That's kind of an odd reason. Well, Uchi, I guess I would rather they focused on games that ran well than games that are. I don't know. I don't want to see them keep dredging up MT Framework over and over again. I think we can wave MT Framework off into the sunset after it's a good run. We don't need to keep zombifying it and bringing it back.
I don't think it's a bad reason. I'd be interested. I know that they're planning on retiring the RE engine.
The RE engine?
Yeah. Do you know of this RE engine?
Yeah, it's what Resident Evil games and the current Monster Hunter games run on.
Yep, they did say, weirdly enough, that RE8 was going to be the last game built in the RE engine.
Really?
And they were going to upgrade it after that. I don't think that that's the case anymore.
I know for a while they were working on another engine entirely, but it got canceled. But that's been years and years ago now.
I want you to know something. And I wasn't going to mention it because I thought it would be funny. I went into red sharpness like 10 minutes ago, and I just thought it'd be fun to just keep bouncing off him.
That's okay. I forgot stamina items, so I couldn't eat anything.
You didn't laugh when I told you that, so now I feel guilty.
No, I'm not guilty. I think it's funny. I think it's funny we both had something we forgot.
Yeah. I just wanted to see if I could bounce off him and keep it going.
Uchi asks, yeah. even if MT Framework was ported to really powerful future consoles, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if making it, I guess with enough power, maybe it would run well. I guess.
All right, I'm not even gonna let you play devil's advocate on that. World needs to be ported to literally nothing. At this point, it is on everything that anyone would ever want to play it.
That's fair. It's on PC.
Yeah, it's on PC. It's on. Once something's on PC, it's ported. Like, it never needs to be ported again. Like, they'll keep selling you Resident Evil 4 in 7 billion different iterations, but it's on PC. You don't need to worry about it. Baroth Ridge. Do I just make the high-ranked Baroth on it?
You could. It's supposed to be pretty good.
I could. So yeah, I don't think that World needs to be ported, and I think that you're right. There will end up being a time where technological debt is very real, especially pertaining to something like World, which at times just did not run well. Like, if you had the base PS4, it just did not.
It didn't run well on my PC. And like,
yes,
the PC can run a lot of things really well. We had to mod it in order to get it to run smoothly. And like, my PC's not like it's not like the most powerful PC in the world, but it's way more powerful than the PCs that came out around the time when World came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll chalk that up to, like, Japan's still trying to get comfy with PC gaming in general. but that excuse only goes so far. It's just
It does look really nice for the consoles, but it doesn't run well on the consoles particularly well either.
Yeah, it runs well on like the PS4 Pro / PS5. I can confirm that.
On the PS5, I'm sure it does. I guess what I would say about that, Uchi, is like, I'm sure with enough power you could make World run just fine, just like with enough power on a PC right now. If you have a PC that's more powerful than mine, you can push it even further and make it run even more consistently. But I would rather they just spent time... just either bringing forward games that are going to run really, really well on newer machines, or just work on new games as opposed to porting a game that's like on a giant bloated like Frankenstein version of an old engine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I think I'm probably freshly salty about that because I've had some issues running on PC, and it's not a good PC port like Uchi said. It's like, I don't know, World doesn't feel like some awful hulking behemoth when you're playing it in terms of like the engine just like collapsing under the weight of it. But I guess my sentiment still stands where I'd rather they spent time porting things that were going to run better than that. I don't know. I'm sure far enough down the line it won't matter. You can make run. You'll be able to make World run on anything. But that's how I feel about it right now.
1 second. Yeah, I think like I definitely agree with the spirit of what you're saying. I have 284 Zenny.
That's it?
Yep, I made a new helmet.
Okay.
It's the Baroth helmet.
Nice. Do you want to fight a purple Ludroth next? Or a pink Rathian?
Dealer's choice. You know what? I want to bust out my lance. Let's do pink Rathian.
Okay.
I agree. World could use a PS2 port.
I appreciate that point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think generally speaking, like, World will not need, like, anything released on the PS3 onwards, or like from that generation, probably doesn't need too much in the way of porting. Like, it's fine.
PS3 stuff does because it's not on an x86 architecture and it's not on the PC, or a lot of that stuff isn't on the PC. But PS4 and Xbox One stuff is in a really good spot right now because they're backwards compatible with the consoles, and a lot of that stuff is getting ported to PC because it's a similar architecture, so they can port it pretty easily.
Yeah. Video game preservation is interesting. And yeah, like, I don't know. If they were to do a 3DS collection, I would definitely buy it, but I'd be confused by it, I suppose. Like, there's just something in me, something visceral in my gut that's like, yeah, you probably wouldn't enjoy that. Like, there would be something wrong about playing it on, like, playing for you on a TV would just feel so weird. It would be good, but it would be weird. And I think that's sort of changing my perspective on gaming in general, like how many ports and sequels and stuff there are. It's hard to get excited about stuff when there are, like, so many ports. There's too much of a good thing. Like, imagine this. They announce tomorrow, hey, guess what? We're doing Sunbreak, Monster Hunter 6, like, no, allow me to go back to the beginning. Here's a trailer for Monster Hunter 6. By the way, we're porting for you. I think that would make whatever Monster Hunter 6 is feel less meaningful. And I understand that sounds odd, but, like, I don't know. It would
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, it just makes things feel less special. And I think that the nostalgia well is eventually going to run dry. I think nostalgia is a very easily manipulated emotion. And I think that's probably not even an original thought.
I forgot stakes again.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah?
I think. Yeah, I do got you.
Thank you. I'll remember them next time. I'll feel dumb this hunt. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's find that Ludroth. It must be out towards the water because it's not here.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that in general, the more they port stuff and the more they provide sequels like Chain Reaction, there is such a thing as oversaturation. There is such a thing as, like, you know, we all love Monster Hunter, but you'll start to not resent it, but you'll feel like you'll become complacent about it. You'll become indifferent. that feeling of the new thing can only take you so far. So there's a lot of reasons to port it, but there's also a lot of reasons that I don't think we should. Accessibility is like the main one. I definitely believe that the more accessible it is, the better. I forgot that he can poison you with his slippers.
Do you need antidotes?
No.
Are you sure? I have some.
Yeah, I got 10.
Okay, good. Kermit
It's
asks
not
me
for
if I've
lack
had
of
coffee, and I have had coffee today. I had one just now before our cast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm drinking one now. Hey, Purple Lodra, please.
He's pretty aggro.
He is a bit of a spicy lad.
My stream is dropping a few frames right now, but I can still hear you just fine. There we go. What type of coffee? I had some Ethiopian coffee just now. Earlier today at work, I had some of the blend that we have on espresso, which is okay.
You know, this sleep lance is comically bad. It has 100 sleep. So,
That's 10 sleep.
yeah. More to the point, in like 5 or 6 hunts I've done with it, I've seen one monster fall asleep.
You'll get it. You'll get them. You'll just have to roll the right sleep procs.
Yeah, perfectly.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I guess I still stick to my regular opinion about the ports, which is like I think it would be great, and I think that there are a lot of us who would like it and buy it no problem, and really be happy for the extra group of people who could experience the older games and the new way of recording and playing them, just in case some of the features didn't work on the original version, or the original version was uncomfortable or expensive to capture or whatever it was. But I don't know. I think they've shown that over the course of the last 15 plus years they haven't felt the need to port any. And I mean, things could change now that the series has made it so big, but I don't think it's going to personally. I think they're just going to invest their efforts into making new games and bringing back maps and monsters that way instead.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. I think one thing that's so exciting about it being on a hard to capture device is like monsters like Yamasukami and Gogmazios and like Dalamadur, etc., etc. There's videos and stuff of them out there, but there's still like a bit of mystery around them. Like,
yeah.
You don't hear about them every day because they're not always everywhere.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I think that's pretty exciting
Me too.
because it's really cool. Like, even if you got into the series late, you can go back to these games, and because you're not having like Dalamadur shoved down your throat all that often, like you can sort of see it and build it up in your head a little bit, but you're not always going to be exposed to it.
Uchi says it's not their favorite way of building mystery. Yeah, it's an unfortunate side effect, but it is. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing to have a side effect from, but it is a side effect of it. Is like some of those monsters are pretty shrouded in mystery. Yeah, it's not great. It's not an ideal situation. Like, hey,
There we go.
and look who you got with you. You got a great sword user.
Now that's it. Yeah, no, I don't think that that's a good way to do it, but I think that, you know, every cloud.
That is an interesting. That is an interesting side effect of that, is that some of those older monsters do feel very, very mysterious and unwell known. Like I don't really know anything about Dire Morales. Some of the stuff in this game I don't know anything about, even though the fact that I run in Monster Hunter circles and I kind of avoid spoilers, but kind of not.
Yeah, I think that that's pretty darn cool. Also, Waddy Spears, I in fact did read him a bedtime story under my breath, so he knows. Oh, you have some hard zones, my friend.
No, I missed the window for canceling the other roll. Feels bad, man.
At least let me get my sharpen off. That would be nice. That would be the gentlemanly thing to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah. To those who are just joining us so far, Phal and I have talked just, I guess, a little bit about what we've been playing in video games, and we've talked a little bit about porting Monster Hunter to different consoles. I hope all y'all are, I don't know, having a nice day so far. Having a nice start to the week. If you're in the US, I hope you're going to have a nice week celebrating Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, Thanksgiving this week. Americans, you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy going to see your family. Actually, that's something I wanted to touch on, like just as a quick side note. Regarding mental health. This year, it's been real tough. It's been hard to be excited for things, and it's been hard to sort of feel like anything special. At least for me, I know that's the way. Like, it shocks me that it's in November, and it doesn't feel like the end of the year. It feels like the year never really began, and it feels like it's not coming to an end. But do your best this Thursday to really cherish that time with your family. Try and make it special, even if it's just another day to you only get so many Thanksgivings in your life. You enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm not going to be I'm going to be here with my wife where we live, but I'm not visiting family because they live pretty far away, like a 10-hour drive. So I'll try it. I guess I will try and, I don't know, touch base with all of them as best I can remotely. Try and make sure they're doing good on that nice day.
Hey, that's exciting.
And yeah, don't deep fry your turkey.
Deep fry your turkey.
No, don't. You would say that.
Do it in a shallow pan as well, and fill the turkey with water. And you dial 9-1, and when I say hit the number, you dial 1 again.
Phal, this is how you get a podcast sued.
Yeah, I suppose you're... What's the worst that could happen?
You're talking to Americans. We're litigious as all hell.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Extradite me to the States? Like, off topic, but how would one sue someone from another country? I've never looked into the logistics of that, because I've never intended to sue or be sued.
I'm grateful I have no idea.
Okay.
You'd think they would teach us that as like the first course in high school, but they don't.
Yeah, don't teach you how to do taxes, don't teach you how to safely give dangerous advice to strangers on a different hemisphere. There's a lot to learn in life. There's a lot to learn.
Aww.
Yeah, but how do they do that, Jack? How do they facilitate? I'll Google it in my spare time. Or you can Discord DM it to me, and we'll talk about Miles Davis's The Birth of Cool and lawyer stuff.
Alright. I feel like we've had sufficient time to to lubricate our brains, loosen up our lips.
Oh, I'm ready,
Mr.
mate.
Faust, are you ready to dive into tonight's topic?
I am super excited. We have a super broad, almost podcast-spanning topic, but it has a lot of sub-topics. It's very exciting.
Yeah,
Think of it as one of your Monster Hunter sub-quests, if you know what I'm saying, Generations Ultimate Gamers.
So, this comes courtesy of my friend Mark's Tip, who comes up with many different things to ask us about Monster Hunter. Us being chat, me, you, whoever. They're very thoughtful about Monster Hunter. And they were earlier this week talking about the aesthetic differences between some of the games in the series. Now, they were specifically talking about some of the monster designs. And so for the first example, I just want to talk about, like, for those who don't know, there are two main teams that make a lot of the Monster Hunter entries. There's some teams that are called, there's one team that's called the main team that makes like some of the big changing, the big like landmark Monster Hunter games. Monster Hunter Tri, Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, the ones that really feel like landmark titles in the series. And then the Portable team makes some of the ones that feel a little bit more like funky remixes or spin-offs, like Portable 3rd, Generations, and Generations Ultimate, and Monster Hunter Rise. And what Marx was talking about is, do you think there's kind of like a difference between those games and those teams and their monster designs? Just aesthetically, to start off with here. Like, what do you think about that, Fallacy?
I do want to just like clarify before I dive in. We are just talking about these two teams for now, Frontier and Explorer.
Yeah.
Like online. Maybe we'll tackle those a different day, but I can't say any of us know enough about them
No.
to... Well, yourself or myself. I wasn't there. But yeah, there are some huge aesthetic differences when you consider the Portable team versus the main team, shall we say. Like, I think if you look at something like Valstrax, and then you consider something like, you know, what's another endgame Elder Dragon that's not, I'm not going to say like Great Joggy or something, because that's just being unfair.
Teostra, Kushala, maybe.
Yeah, like, yeah. A lot of people will, you know, discuss the idea that Monster Hunter is, it at least tries to be based in reality. Like, it tries to have a bit of plausible deniability. And I think we can all safely agree that Valstrax kind of tosses that out of the window. But it's a spectacle. It's really, really cool. It's super neat to watch that dive bomb hit, and it's real fun to watch that come down.
The kind of funny thing about comparing Valstrax as a out there design to Kushala as a grounded design is when Kushala was invented, I believe if I'm remembering this correctly from interviews and details I've heard and such, Kushala was supposed to be a more fantastical out there monster design compared to the grounded, more like, I don't know, simple like kind of, I don't know, generic design of Fatalis from the previous generation. And then you look a lot later down the line, you have something like Valstrax, and then Valstrax makes Kushala look like simple, and kind of grounded.
Yeah, I think it's so multi-layered, and you know, ask 5 different people this question, and you'll get 100 different answers. But you know, it's hard to say. I think as far as the teams go, it's really difficult to pin down the vision. Like, I spent the 2 hours before our cast looking up some interviews with Ichinose, and I just never really found anything that was definitive on how it is that team in particular designs monsters, or how they go about it. But I think we can infer from context that the portable team likes things that have a bit more spectacle. And they do their best to, like, justify it within the rules of the world, but
I think it's kind of easy to cherry pick some of the stuff like Valstrax where you've got that gigantic dive bomb jet attack. I want to think about, like, let's say we compared Great Macau to Royal Ludroth. They're both like early game monsters. They're both like decently fleshed out. They're both pretty cool designs. Why, like, do you think those two feel sizably different? Like, does one of them feel like a portable team monster and one the other? Or is it just kind of like standout monsters that feel one way or the other?
It's really tricky because it's not as though, and this is a good thing, it's not as though Monster Hunter has this very clearly defined aesthetic in the same way that, say, something like God Eater has. And I think that's definitely to its benefit. But it becomes tricky. Like, Great Macau is obviously a bird wyvern that, like, jumps back on its tail and it kicks its feet at you. And that's pretty nifty, but it doesn't look too far removed from something that could actually exist. Like, you ever seen a cassowary? It's not incredibly far off that. Royal Ludroth, however, I've never seen anything that even remotely resembles it.
Yeah, and this is the main series design.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky when you consider. I think the size of the monsters is the thing that'll throw most of you off. Like, when you start to consider ecology and all that jazz, like, there are just things that are not that big. But I think between the two teams, if you were to show me like 30 monsters and be like, all right, was this the main team or the portable team? I would have a really hard time.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases I would too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty harmonious design-wise. One common example that I hear is like, people will bring up Zinogre.
I mean, he's a pretty prominent example. So is Valstrax.
Yeah, as like something that seems grounded to them.
Really?
Yeah, I always find that interesting. And like, I think it's because there was actually a Japanese book where they had scientists look at like Zin and they explained how he could exist and function within this world. And it's like, yeah, they were playing devil's advocate for it though.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, like you said, the portable team, the B team is what I think they're internally called, or at least as I've heard them referred to as the B team before. There's A team and B team, main and portable. I think they do a pretty decent job of, even when they do make designs that are like Zinogre, that are kind of pretty fantastical, pretty amped up, literally. They do a good job of justifying it within the world, at least somehow. I don't know. I think sometimes those stick a little more than others. Where you look at something like the Fantastic Four, they're another good example of the Fated Four, the Fantastic
yeah,
Four. Yeah, you look at Fox's Fantastic Four. No, you look at the Fated Four, and I don't know. Those designs are pretty out there. It's a giant woolly mammoth with a giant crest on its head. It's a bubble soap pink wyvern. It's a giant like thunder lightsaber looking horn like wyvern, and it's a giant like T-Rex with a knife for a tail. Like it's pretty. Those are, when you compare those to like, let's say Diablos, Rathalos, Lagiacrus, stuff that's from the main series team from like some of the earlier games. Those designs are pretty out there still. And I feel like in that case, I don't know if they really do, like, what is the ecology on Mizutsune and Glavenus? Like, I think it's out there. It's just hard to find. It's definitely not surfaced in a way that's like, oh, Gammoth must use its crest for this. Glavenus must use its tail for, I mean, it probably uses it for frickin' self-defense or like an offense to attack things. But like, I don't know, I feel like some of those designs, I think specifically recently, maybe from Generations Ultimate specifically, like the Fated Four and Valstrax, do feel like they're a little bit further removed to me, where they feel like they're just kind of fantastical monsters and fantastical designs that don't necessarily have a whole lot of ecology that grounds them to the world. Like, they fit in okay, but I don't know. I think that it's interesting seeing, even within the same game, like we were talking about Great Macau, being like, yeah, Great Macau fits in pretty well. I think Malfestio does too. Malfestio has some kind of more interesting like powers with its confusion status, but in general, I think Malfestio fits pretty well. It just seems like a bird of prey in the Monster Hunter universe, which is neat.
I think it's so hard to pin down because it's of two extremes. You have stuff that's like, oh yeah, here's like what we are aware of it. That's like basically a raptor. It's just a dinosaur, and that's great joggy. And then we do have stuff like Nakakos, and we do have stuff like Mizutsune. And I think one thing the Monster Hunter devs could do better, and also make fat stacks on. You know how a lot of game companies, they'll like release, you know, companion books that tell you a bit about the world?
Mm-hmm.
Just release like a big old Monster Hunter encyclopedia. Like, retcon the heck out of it. Tell us everything about every monster. And I think that would make a lot of people happy. But I'm gonna be real. I don't believe at all that Monster Hunter has ever really been grounded in reality. Fatalis was in the first game. I like Diablos, the gigantic horned wyvern who is incredibly territorial is also herbivorous. Like things like that, just, and you know, those fangs that it has, like, you know, if you're considering ecology, those fangs are not for chewing up cacti.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm not a biologist, I'm not an ecologist, but, you know, that feels like base level information. So I don't think it's ever really been based in reality all that much. As much as it would be nice. As much as it would be nice.
Sure. I guess we have sort of a side tangent about that in here. That why don't we go ahead and talk about that since you brought it up. So like designs based in realism. Do you personally, like you said, you don't think that it is particularly based in realism, but do you care how realistic the monsters are, how well they fit into like a perceived world? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't really care, because I personally think that some of the more fun designs, you know, I'd rather that they go more fun than just give me like another Jaggi because it's more realistic. Yeah, alright. I'm not saying that there's nothing there. I'm just saying it is a stretch to call it realistic and based in reality. I'm saying that the games have never been based in reality. Something as big as Rathalos cannot fly. Like, these are what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's yeah, that's largely what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Like, sure, aesthetically they're based on some of these things, but if you look at a bison and or water buffalo's teeth, they certainly don't look like Diablos's teeth.
Sure. Do you think that there is an element of realism to the series that is important?
I think if they consider how they can ground them within the reality of the world, like the rules that they've set for the world, yes, absolutely. But I think that they haven't always been like, look at this dude, Bullfango or Buldrum, what have you. He's just a boar. But yeah, I personally don't care if they were to take a more frontier route. I enjoy that in Rise they started basing it off Japanese yokai. I don't mind that we've got Mizutsune, the bubble fox. Like, Glavenus is a bit more of an out there design, but there's lots of things that have defensive mechanisms. Admittedly, Glavenus's lore being like, he has a part of his jaw that he uses to, as effectively a flint and steel against his own tail. Obviously, that is absurd. Ryzex and or Astalos, like, ridiculous creatures. I'm not gonna go up to bat for the Fated 4 being based in realism, but I just don't think that there's ever been that many elements of, like, they tried. They tried.
I think it's a pretty important part. I guess I think that there's always been a portion of the series that's pretty grounded in realism. I'm sure that the further you go back, it's clear the more grounded they were on the whole with designs in terms of trying to make it feel like, okay, these are monsters. This is fantastical. There's a Fatalis. There's dragon energy. There's all this, or there's dragon element, that kind of stuff. There's these special fancy swords that are just wild and out there. Like, no, it's not gritty and realistic. Like, we don't look like we're trying to like make an old school, like, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be based in medieval times or anything particularly. It's based in its own very specialized like kind of setting. Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like there is a good chunk of reality and groundedness that went into just about all aspects of the game, whether it's, I don't know, you take something as simple as the hunters, and you could have easily made them be some kind of crazy superhuman looking thing. They could have been beefier, they could have been like tall, they could have been just way more out there, but they always look very grounded. Like, I mean, for all the fantastical things that they do, where the hell did this Rathian go? Sure. For all the fantastical things that the hunters do, they just look like people. And I think that that's kind of a nice, in a nutshell, version of the whole thing, where like there's some fantastical stuff that happens in this game, but if your character was set as like this crazy like Herculean dude, it'd be a lot different feeling than if there was just another person like it is right now. And it's kind of similar with the monsters. I think that the monsters, while being fantastical, have just enough of that, like, I don't know, they have some details that make them feel like creatures, whether it is the details of their tails and their claws, or whether it is the details of that they look a certain way. They look based on an animal from our world. I think it helps kind of really sell the specific, interesting blend of fantasy that Monster Hunter has going for it here. I don't think it's oft replicated in many other series. I think a lot of other series don't get that balance right, either going too gritty and dark and real, or going too fantastical.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Obviously, there's a distinction between the world building of this and something like Skyrim. I'm just saying that if you want to argue the elements of like realism within the series, I just kind of don't agree that it is quite as there as maybe some folks put out there. And I think, like, you know, depending on, like, your mileage is going to vary on a lot of this, but I don't think it's exclusive to Elder Dragons. I don't think it's exclusive to the Fated 4. I think there are plenty of, like, really good examples. And I think no matter what they do, they can provide a way to ground it in the world, not necessarily in reality. I think maybe that's where I come unstuck when we say it's grounded in reality, because it's grounded within the rules of the world, and I think that's perfect. And we have a frame of reference within what we know of, like, the world you and I live in for it. But it's kind of not there. There's nothing in our world that can breathe fire. There's nothing in our world that can conjure up electricity stored up in its body. Well, that's not true. Electricity is. But obviously, obviously they don't do it in the same way as Zenoga does, which is like channeling physics through its wing. We don't have dragon energy, etc., etc. So I'm not going to mind if they go too out there. I'm not going to be too fussed about that element. But yeah, provided they never go through like, oh yeah, they've got magical spells. I'm Jimblor, the spellcasting wizard, and I have a cool hat.
Woof. She got me too. I think what I was going to say, something I was going to say about it is, I feel like you look at something like the Fated 4 and Valstrax and stuff like that that is genuinely more out there than some of their earlier stuff and some of the other things in the same game as them. And I feel like part of why that's okay is because you have those more grounded designs in there. I think that if there ever was a game that was just full on every monster is a Valstrax, every monster is a Fated 4, like it would feel a lot less like Monster Hunter. And I think it would lose something. And so I think that like in creating their newer designs, as long as they have some of the older designs that channel that sort of more grounded energy from when the series was a lot more grounded, or they just keep coming up with a mixture of new designs that are out there and new designs that are more grounded. Like, I think Tetranodon's pretty good. He's pretty grounded. I mean, he eats a whole lot of stuff, and like that's kind of like not necessarily the most realistic thing, but I think he's not the most out there design.
Oh, by no stretch of the imagination. I don't think anything is bad for the world that it's set. Yeah, Gustotron, that's what I said like 3 times as well. But yeah, it's hard to say. Are they grounded in reality by design? Have they ever specifically said like, yeah, we don't want to go too fantastic with it? And if so, it's had the same director, most of the mainline ones, since the first game. I'm sure that if they had like a singular artistic vision for it, then we would know about it. So I'm cool with whatever they make. I like the Frontier monsters, etc., etc. If you want to talk about real out there, I need to shop.
I think that the reason we're so into those is because they are such a stark contrast to the more like balanced, more grounded designs we've gotten in the main series. I think that if the main series was kind of out there like Frontier, we might not be quite as into some of those designs, even though they'd still be just as cool.
Absolutely. Like, obviously, there's the sense of power and scale within the world. Like, look at something like Great Jaggi.
I shouldn't have been doing that. We're gonna have to try that one again.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at something like Great Jaggi. Look at something like, I don't know, XYZ monster here. There's a distinction, and there is a sense of power creep, and that's how the game sort of fits that RPG mold more. Because if we started off in Fatalis, and then we did Fataliser and Fatalicist, and that was like low rank, then the sense of power is way different. The game does a really good job of building you up through these smaller monsters.
Sure.
But it makes me wonder the intentions behind some of the designs. So, yeah, I guess I'm just always going to be fascinated by the different approaches. And as we were discussing a little bit before the cast, Monster Hunter is like no singular person's vision. It's like, it's not developed by, you know, your Hideo Kojima or this, that, or the other. It's many people coming together to sort of have this vision. And I know for 3U specifically, I forget the gentleman's name, but he came onto the team and he was like, all right, here's what we can do to make Rathalos more realistic, or make it more grounded in the world. And I think that that is really important, and I hope that they never lose that element. But I also don't really mind the more fantastical stuff. Like, I don't mind Magna Malo, even if his design is a little bit more anime, because he's got like the Shogun helmet, and he's a cat that propels himself with purple, whatever his status effect is. But, I disagree that there is any particular hard and fast rules.
Yeah, of course not. Clearly.
Yeah.
I think if someone's saying like they're all like, if someone's pointing to a particular monster and being like, this is the one, it breaks all the rules. Like, I don't really think that there's a gradient of designs that are more or less out there, but I don't think that there is any particular one monster that has gone too far to the point of like, well, this one just doesn't fit in here at all.
And I think it's important to understand that the series probably will keep on getting more and more grandiose in its design. Otherwise, they're going to stagnate and we'll start seeing stuff that we've seen. But yeah, I think it's a bit of column A and it's a bit of column B. It's not like Magic. It's not your typical like Dungeons and Dragons fantasy setting. But it's also not David Attenborough's Beautiful Planet either. There is a healthy balance, and everything that's there helps to inform the design of the other creatures. And I don't think that even if they were to take it, let's say, a step beyond Valstrax, or even just like Valstrax and Astalos, they're the two more out there monsters that come to mind when I think of this. I don't think that they're bad, and I don't think that they are out of place in the series. Admittedly, Astalos sticks out like a sore thumb in my opinion, but not in a bad way. And E-Hero, no, I don't have any monsters I don't like due to not fitting in. There are monsters I don't like, but
yeah, none of them for me are because I feel like they don't fit into the world. I feel like they've done a consistently great job of that, even as they've made designs that are more out there, like a Valstrax, or more in the games, like an like more kind of grounded in, like, I don't know what you could call a more realistic setting, like Anjanath or something. Man, both times I've found her on the map, she's flown away immediately.
She does do that.
Let me watch her silhouette this time. And it's not just that. It's not just like the team can make both of those, but the team can make both of those and then have them in the same game and have it like work out and be okay.
Yeah, I think mostly that's just due to the fact that the rule has been set by the players and not the dev teams, and she's over here.
Oh, okay. You found her?
Yeah. There's a lot of different things. Like, even from the first game, consider like every monster there. I don't think that it's so ridiculous to say. And I don't know, maybe this is just because I secretly love the frontier monsters and I would love to see some of them make an appearance someday. Particularly those magnet ones, because I always forget what they're called. And before anyone says no, there are magnets in real life, you'll be okay. You know, I do want to make a point on that. I do think that sometimes the game does a good job of fitting the monsters into their ecosystem, and some monsters are just like, yeah, they're good enough to fit anywhere. There is obviously some thought behind it, like some monsters are always in the desert, or some are always in, you know, the forest, or etc, etc. But I don't think that that rule has ever been incredibly consistent.
Yeah, you can see what I mean. Where she's pretty mean.
She is mean, but I also love her. Yeah, I think Valstrax comes up a lot just because he's sort of the prime example for where the game starts, like the most frontier-esque monster, because he's the one that's the least based in reality. From a visual standpoint, I think when you consider the in-game lore from something like Fatalis, which is a bit tricky because they did want him to be a medieval dragon. I'll concede that every day of the week. When you consider his splash text, like, oh, you know, he can regenerate from a single cell of the armor, and etc, etc. I think that there's a lot there. But I think that they've always been sort of stepping up the designs in that way. But provided they keep going with, not simple designs, but designs that make you feel like you're increasing in power throughout the game, rather than just... hitting one point and then sticking there. I will say of Tigrex though, you know, they do a pretty convincing job of him. You know, he goes to snow because scarce food sources and all that. So I don't think that they've ever been unfair with Tigrex. How would you... do you feel it would be of benefit to keep some monsters as low-rank monsters? Like, just to sort of throw something out there.
Like, something like your Great Jaggy doesn't come to high rank?
Yeah, because to me, like, it doesn't make sense that I'm absolutely stomping a low-rank Pink Rathian, and then I go to high rank, and then there is a high-rank Great Jaggy of equivalent power level. And obviously they're never equivalent, but let's just say, like, you know, this one is.
That's an interesting thought.
I'd be interested in more low rank monsters. I don't know how they'd balance it. I'm not a game dev.
I think to me, I would miss getting to see those monsters and their movesets dialed up. I enjoy getting to see monsters of all different levels, whether it's the hardest monsters or the easiest monsters, get new moves and new patterns that are trickier. And I think that's fun. It's really enjoyable. Same with like getting to use a monster like that's equipment through the game, like go from low rank Baroth to high rank Baroth equipment. I don't want to just use those monsters' equipment and see their moves during the beginning of the game and that's it. That would kind of bum me out, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea. Hence, I'm just like throwing it out there.
It is just an idea, yeah.
But I think it would maybe help with that sense of scale.
Okay. Well, we've had quite quite the talk about the actual monster designs.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of that conversation. Came about from us discussing, like, I don't know, if we thought the main team and the portable team had sizably different ethos when it came to designing monsters. I almost have a couple more questions about that, but I think we're going to move on to the next little bit here, which is, like, in a similar vein, do you think that those two teams, the main team and the portable team, do you think that they, like, how do you think they take a different tack when it comes to, like, story? Do you think that there's a sizable difference in how they come to story or how they handle characters or, like, I don't know, just the general plot line of the progression?
It's really interesting because I think in general, the main team will come up. They'll have like an idea that they'll work on, and then the portable team almost feels like, and I'm not saying this derogatorily, just it kind of feels a bit more like not a spin-off but a side game. Like it's not Monster Hunter. Rise is not Monster Hunter 6. It's Monster Hunter 5.5. It's a nice stopgap. Despite being a very distinct and unique experience from World, they try a lot of different things. And I think, in general, both teams are always experimenting. The main team may be... I don't know. It's really hard for me to consider, and I've never really thought about it.
Like, when you think about the stories in general, there's not tons of stories. Like, in Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter Dose, which were both done by the main team, oh, she got you with the stupid little walk forward. You have, like, the stories of you becoming the hero of Kokoto and pulling the old chief's sword and shield from the stone. And that's kind of like the most story you get in that game, to my knowledge. In Monster Hunter Dose, you kind of help with the construction of Jumbo Village. Then you also get to go and kind of relive that same chief's footsteps by going to Kokoto Village later on in the game and seeing some of that. There's some of the similar ties there. Tri has some stuff with I don't know, basically it's that the chief in Moga, when he was younger, was a hunter like you were, and you get to kind of finish the mission that he was told to be ready for when he was a lot younger. Portable Third doesn't really have a story. Same with, I guess, the most simplistic story of the, I don't know, I feel like Tri is the first one that took it any further than just kind of like, you helped build the village. Freedom Unite and Freedom 2 has like the Tigrex revenge arc, which is something.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, it's like, it does the RPG thing. The world exists, and you are a part of it. Like, you're effectively just a guy doing your job. And things happen regardless of whether or not you were present for them. You do often end up like the Sacred Hunter, or like a world made you the Sapphire Star. I think that World made you like an integral character, I guess.
It was not the first one to do that.
No, it was not the first one to do that, but it was one where it was more noticeable to me. Like, obviously, 4U's story is kind of there as well. But you're always that village's like main hunter, the go-to guy. You're not like the chosen hero or anything, but you're just someone who is there to do a job, and you get the job done. And then you consider something like Rise, which is this sort of big bombastic story where every character has a name, and you're part of it.
Oh, she woke up. I wanted to wake her up with the freaking recital.
So, I think the story is good. Is it important? No, but I think it's good. I like that it's there. Not just
the story itself. Do you think the teams have different views on it? Like, thinking of those different games between the main series and the portable series, portable teams games, do you think the two teams have two very different tacts about it?
I don't think that the two different teams have particularly different visions when it comes to their development of like their design ethos. I don't think that they're super different. I feel like they're mostly on the same page, but I think that there's little nuggets here and there that obviously some of them value more, or they want to try more. And I feel like that's the main part. The devs are always experimenting, so it's kind of hard to tell what the main, like, very confident idea is. And I think that that's a good thing, ultimately. Like, it's hard for me to discern what, like, I couldn't have told you that. I didn't know that 3U was developed by the portable team.
It's not.
It's not? Okay.
Nope, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, I guess we looked at it a bit earlier to try and, to the best of our ability, nail down which exact games were made by which exact teams, and the most that we could see was that most of the main series games were directed by Fujioka-san, and that's Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter 2, Monster Hunter Tri and 3 Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter World. And then, actually, I don't know, did Fujioka-san direct Monster Hunter World? I can't remember. Maybe not Iceborne, but World, I believe so.
He was executive director.
Okay.
Was what his credit was. So maybe it was more of a shared thing?
Okay.
I don't know. It's really tricky.
Whereas the dedicated portable entries, which have thus far been directed by Ichinose, were Freedom Second, or I guess Portable Second and Portable Second Chiefs. That's Freeman 8, basically. Portable Third, Generations, and Generations Ultimate, and then Monster Hunter Rise. Which is interesting. It's interesting because you'd think that all of the Ultimate games, based off of like kind of portable Second and Second G being sort of ultimate versions of DOS, and they were the portable team game. You'd think that the Ultimate 3DS games, 3 Ultimate and 4 Ultimate, would be part of the portable team's development as well. My theory is that because there weren't any main console games, even though they were portable versions, they still had the main team developing them. But in any case, we looked at that earlier to try and find as much as we could. Find out as much as we could about who made what in the series.
Yeah, and it's just really, it's hot. Like, the main thing about it is, it's not as though Monster Hunter has like a Suda 51 or a Kojima or a what have you. So, you know, you can't find out too much about these guys. Like, you can't really discern a lot of what their intent is. It feels like they have a lot of good ideas and they implement them, and sometimes they fall flat and sometimes they don't. But one thing that's fairly consistent,
I don't know if I'd say they've ever fallen flat.
Okay.
Maybe individual ideas, but not games.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. There are like individual parts, like the clutch wheel. I think it's a pretty common agreement that everyone thinks it's a nice idea on paper, but perhaps poorly implemented, and they can't do too much about it now. But I think we're all in agreement that it was novel. It was a novel idea, and it was kind of cool. Things like that. Just the little things. So I'm interested to see everyone's flair. And if I'm completely honest, I think Monster Hunter 6 will be the entry. I'm going to Triple S. I don't want to do that.
I screwed up the song. I was gonna play a health boost song.
Thank you. I am getting.
She's so aggressive. There you go.
Oh, it was only like a year later that she got done. What about you? What discernible differences or thoughts do you have regarding the two specific generations?
I think that there actually is kind of a pretty visible difference in terms of story. I think initially, when you're comparing the first couple games, Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter DOS, Monster Hunter Freeman Night, there's not a sizable difference there. You got like the chief's backstory and like the village's story a bit in Monster Hunter DOS, and you've got like, oh, your revenge plot against Tigrex, and like none of those are really more invested than the others. I think that around the same time you see the main team go, okay, we tried kind of a really brutal, kind of hardcore simulator. I mean, more simulator style Monster Hunter. We tried to make it more about going out and gathering and making sure you know all the different gathering spots and all that stuff. We tried focusing on that quite a bit. As soon as you see them kind of shift the focus a little bit away from that, I think you start to see an uptick in how much the main team and their games start focusing on providing at least a story that you can kind of self-insert yourself into. Whether it's that you are the hero who is coming to kind of finish what the Moga Chief started when he was young, he was a hunter, or whether it's you are the caravan's hunter, or you are the Sapphire Star. I think you can see them really kind of, I mean, it's not every one of the main series games, but it's the majority of them. Whereas the portable series games actually, I think, actively get less about story as you go. Portable Third, there's basically no story. Generations and Generations Ultimate, there's basically no story.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that, like, Rise has a story, but it's not the most developed, especially when you compare it to something like 4 Ultimate or World, which were the two main previous entries that the main team designed. So I think there is a pretty big difference between the two teams, and like if they, I don't know, just how they approach story in this series.
It's interesting because I, upon playing Rise, felt it was the story they wanted me to pay attention to the most.
Out of all the games?
Yep, out of all the games, it felt like that was the one that they really wanted me to pay attention to, and they wanted me to care about the characters. And you know, I'm not necessarily speaking from how I feel about it, but
why do you think? Why did you feel that way about it? Can you put into words?
Yep, like having named characters obviously helps you build an attachment to them. Things like you know, they had that plot line of, and spoiler if you haven't played Rise, cover your ears for the next 30 seconds. They had that plot line of the two twins from Kamura Village being bonded to Ibushi and Nawa and being able to speak to them and things of that ilk. So it's felt like more of a fantastical
That's
story.
That's definitely more dramatic than most of the other portable team games. That's definitely the most dramatic story from that team.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like a lot of the time in Monster Hunter, it feels like, you know, you're just a guy doing your job and you get wrapped up in something, but it is still just your job. It's what's expected of you. Whereas in Rise, to me, it felt like there was a story happening and you were actively a part of it. And that was more or less what World turned into as well. But the tone, and I can't put it into words because I haven't played World's story meaningfully in a while, and I don't really recall Rise's story super well, so maybe I'll have to review that at some point. But for you, definitely, it feels like you are part of this village and you're just sort of traveling around with the caravan, and things get a bit bigger than you had anticipated.
I really like the characters in 4 Ultimate the best, personally.
Oh yeah, agreed. Like,
to me, that's
really
the most successful story in the series.
Yep, totally there with you 100%.
At least really like my sensibilities.
Yep, I agree. I like them a lot. I like the cutscenes the most. A lot of, like, For You, please don't bite me, thank you. For You has a lot of flavor, which is really good. And it feels like you're not the most important person in the story. You're not the chosen hero. You've got people like the Ace Cadets and the Master and the Caravaneer and even the Guild Mom, Sophia. She, like, they all have personality despite not being named, I guess. So I think that's a really... They both have very different approaches to storytelling. The World, or like main team, for sure, have this sort of sense of, you're a dude who's dropped into something. Rise, to me, feels like, yeah, you're the chosen hunter.
They don't say that at all, though.
No, they don't say that at all. You're right. I'm speaking tonally.
Okay.
Not from the words that they say, but just from how they handle the subject matter. You feel like you're a bit more of an active role in the story. Can you please stop knocking me down?
Her or the Jaggy?
Her. But yeah, I would say the teams obviously influence one another. Like, they're not completely separate, like, alright, next game's coming out, let's show our homework.
No, otherwise you...
oh.
Yeah, you can see, even from a basic standpoint, that's true just based on how much of World's new mechanics carried over to Rise. Not all of them did, but it's clearly based on the work done with Monster Hunter World.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely go as far as to say, they're not two entirely separate teams. Like, they no doubt talk and...
It is interesting that there are two teams, I guess. I think it's just interesting. It leads to some really interesting different flavors of the games across the series. And I think do you think you prefer that? Like, let's say someone says, okay, there's just one big team that makes games just as often, but it's just one team versus the two-team approach. What do you think you prefer?
I think it's really hard to say because Monster Hunter is a series unlike any other. I swear. It's so hard to put into words, like, so many little things about it. It's very unique in that sense, like the two teams doing their own thing to make a relatively similar product. I would be interested if they started ending up vastly different. And honestly, I think that's what we'll start seeing with the jump to the new generation of consoles, the new technology. Because World and Rise are obviously, they're not leagues apart, but I would say tonally and from a combat perspective, they do feel remarkably different. At least to me, I'd be open to being disagreed with on it.
No, I agree with you. They're quite different games in many ways.
And I
Even as they are both 5th gen Monster Hunter with open world maps and like very fluid player movement, which are some of the defining characteristics of 5th gen for me. It's like even as they have those, they're very different games.
Yeah, so I guess for me, the answer becomes I would deem it necessary that they have the two teams if we keep getting, you know, slightly further and further apart products in terms of difference in how they function. I think that would be cool. But if you look at the difference between 3U and like Portable Third, there's obviously the nuances, but they've got the same bones. Same with like Freedom Unite and Dose. They've got similar. When I say bones,
oh,
I mean
bones. I heard
like,
tones. I'm sorry, bones. Sure.
Bones.
Yeah.
Whereas Rise and World, I don't think that they share as much DNA as those older games. Obviously, like, if we get into the nitty-gritty, they're more similar than they are different, but I still think that they're very different. So
there's an Arzuros here. I didn't realize there was.
Yeah.
I guess in the village there's not another monster in this quest.
But yeah, I would be interested to see them sort of even diverge a bit more than they have. I would love to see that.
Oh, Arzuros.
It would make you, I don't know. Whatever happens, I don't want Monster Hunter to become like an annual release or whatever, which it won't.
It almost is.
It almost? Yeah, I suppose you're right.
It's
like,
there's sometimes like half a year off or about a year off, but it's almost a 1 year release cycle right now. Between the two teams doing their main games and their expansions, it provides each team with like about 4 years of, or with about 2.5 to 3 years of dev time in between their main entries. Nice dunk, Arzuros. Unless that was you.
Yeah. So, I think it was Arzuros. But yeah, I think I would love for them to both experiment more, but like, if I was to look at something like 3U and Portable Third, you're right, it has all of the weapons and Yukumo Village is different, and admittedly, I kind of like the beginning arc of, like that first cutscene with Zin in the beginning of Portable Third is awesome.
Tis.
But I would like, I guess maybe I'd be interested to see the wedge be driven further apart.
I mean, I think over time it kind of has been.
Yeah, for sure. But I think for now, to me at least, it's like 4U and then like 4U maybe didn't necessitate GU. It's hard to say.
Necessitate?
It's hard to say. Yeah, I got a lot of, I guess I got a lot of different feelings on that one.
On GU?
It's real, not on GU necessarily, but just understanding how all of the games are meant to play against each other. Whether or not the two teams really are this distinct and different. And I think I would like them to be. I would be very, very fascinated by that. But it's so weird to like be kind of unable to put it into worlds that way. Sure.
I think the question I asked you about whether you'd prefer like one big main team doing entries just as often or two teams like we have now, I think I prefer the two teams because I really like getting to experience different things from different. It feels like if you had one team, you would get much fewer new perspectives on each new iteration on the series. Right now, it feels like every time we go through a generation, at least so far in the last few ones, we've gotten multiple takes on similar ideas, and I feel like that would happen a lot less. There'd be a lot less variation. It'd probably be just a lot more about making just more and more Monster Hunter, which is still something that they do right now. They make lots of Monster Hunter. But I feel like if you had one team working on it, it would be less about, okay, what did we try new for this one? How do we change it up from our last one? It'd just be like, okay, how do we make more Monster Hunter that folks want to play?
Yeah, I don't know. It's... Sorry, I'm over here shopping while you're beating up Pinky. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. I feel like maybe the differences aren't so pronounced to me, but I can still see why others think that they are. Man, it's really hard when you start thinking about it. Like, the answer to... I think the core of it is, like, I don't know what I would want from a sequel, and I don't know what to expect of either theme. I didn't expect Rise to be, like, Rise until I saw that first trailer. I didn't expect World to be World. And that's the main thing about it. I think that I wouldn't be bothered if there was even, like... If there was one main theme, I wouldn't be bothered if there were less frequent releases. But because there's the two teams, you know, the release cycle that they've got currently isn't too bad. But honestly, like, I feel like my standpoint on all of this will change with the release of Monster Hunter 6. Because I'm prepared to sit back and say, okay, they obviously have all of this stuff, but World was obviously sort of a new beginning, a new leap in what it was that the team wanted to do design-wise. Like, they obviously wanted to make bigger changes. So I'm fascinated. Like, you could almost, and people do, you could break up like the old gen and the new gen. You could say, oh, you know, this is old Monster Hunter, and you know, that's the new generation of Monster Hunter. So, like, and that's part of why World and Rise aren't numbered entries, right? Like, because they're trying to be distinct.
Well, I don't think you'll see numbered entries ever again.
No, I don't think so either. But I more mean that as that is an intentional decision to differentiate that we've moved into a different era of Monster Hunter.
Sure. So I think it's more so just that the numbers are going to get absurdly high. I don't feel like the games are trying to differentiate themselves any more than games in the past were.
Personally, I feel like they are.
I mean, like, I don't know.
That's just me.
Maybe with some of the oldest ones, like the first 3 or 4, like you've got like World One and Dose, and you've got Freeman Knight. Like, those aren't that distinct from another. But once you get to like Try, I feel like that game's pretty darn distinct. Same thing with For You. That game's pretty distinct too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just suggesting that there is a bigger gap between For You and World than there is between 3U and 4U.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a large gap between second gen and second gen and third gen. Like 3U, I kind of tried to change it up as well. I
think the last time we had a jump as big as like 4U to World was second gen to 3 to Try. Also, I got a Ruby, which I'm excited about.
Ooh, I think whatever Monster Hunter 6 is, I truly do believe it'll be more different than a lot of us are anticipating.
It'll be interesting to see. I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea either. And that's why I'm finding it so hard to, like, comment on this. Because, to me, World and Rise are where the two teams feel the most different. Obviously, like, and what I mean by this is, if I took a hunt from 3U without underwater combat, and I showed you one from Try as well, you might not be able to tell the difference. You might be able to tell the difference, but, you know, the average person, they might not be able to tell the difference because they have a sort of similar flow. But if I show you even just a screen cap from World and then Rise, they are very distinct. So yeah. I'm hoping that maybe we see that again for Monster Hunter 6. But obviously if they don't, I'm going to play it whatever it is, but I'm really interested to see how they expand upon the ideas that they've already got, ones that they drop, and then also there's the question of, do they have a big shake-up again? So that's why it's really hard for me to answer, because I feel like maybe just now the teams are starting to sort of come into their own and have more focused visions of what it is that they want to make.
I'll talk more on that in a moment. I guess, would you like to hunt a regular Rathian, Palisade, after that?
I love to hunt regular Rathian.
Okay.
Oh, that was a pink rat. Let me have a quick look.
Sure.
Those stuff.
I think personally, I think my personal prediction, I don't really know what they'll do, obviously. I don't have a strong feeling about it, but I think that 6 will not shake things up as much as World did. I think 6 will feel something like World just iterated on. further. That's my personal take, is I don't think that they'll shake things up again quite so soon. I think they have a lot more growing to do. Like, I think even developers at Capcom, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine they probably look at World and go like, we tried so many new things, we got so much of it right, let's try these things differently and see where we land next time. I think that every time they've had a big change, whether it's the first game in the series or Monster Hunter Tri or Monster Hunter World, you've seen them iterate on the ideas introduced in that large new landmark title in the years following it, in the games following it. So I think that 6 will just be something that, I bet it'll be something that feels a little bit like World with probably a little bit of Rise pulled into it too.
One thing that I truly do feel, and this is gonna, it might sound like a shit-eating opinion, but trust me when I say I don't mean it in like a horrible way. I think as far as game devs go, the Monster Hunter team have taken a lot longer to, and this is gonna require you to like infer from what I'm saying a lot. I feel like they've taken a longer time to mature than other game devs. Like, from game to game, in like a lot of franchises, you see a lot of iteration between these things, and like they're all distinct and whatnot. But I think in general, Monster Hunter, they sort of they try a lot of different stuff, and I think that's makes it really hard to say like any one thing has like a particular identity. To me, I would like to use something that is not a lance, so I should go change.
Sure.
But yeah, I've been saying that I kind of want Monster Hunter 6 to not experiment with a genre change as such.
Big G just asked that in the chat there.
Yeah, sorry, I was more or less responding to that.
No, you're
sneakily.
good. Yeah. Big G asks if we think that Monster Hunter 6 do we think that Monster Hunter 6 could experiment with a genre change? I don't think it will.
Yeah, no, I don't. What I want and what I think they will do are like two distinct things.
That is not the same for me. I want more Monster Hunter.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think that that's cool. I think that you would like whatever it is. I would like to see more elements of whatever it was Dose was trying, from what we were talking about before. I still haven't watched that 3-hour video. I might never watch that 3-hour video.
You should.
But from the brief summary that I looked at today, I think that there are some elements in there that I would like to see.
Okay. All right, this topic's gone on quite long. We've sort of found our way to some conclusions. There's a few more things that we can at least think about, or at least mention here, is that we wanted to talk about here. Is like, so far we've talked a little bit about the visual designs being different from the main team and the portable team games, and the story. I guess I want to touch briefly on, do we feel like those games have largely different kinds of challenge? And do we think that any of the stuff that we've talked about tonight has been a result primarily of the directors of those games, more than just it being a different team with a different ideology or a different idea? So I guess you can start with either of those questions if you want. Based on the director question, like, do you think it's more of an auteur-director thing, or do you think it's more of a different teams, different ideas? And then also just, do you think that those different games, when you think about the main series games and you think about the portable games that we've established, which ones do you think that they have sizably different kinds of like overall challenges, or do you think it's pretty similar?
I would say that I'm not very well versed in the portable games enough to comment on their challenge. Like, I haven't played portable.
I guess just think about some of the monsters, I guess. Okay. Think about something like Valstrax and what's his name? Astalos. Versus something like your Nergigante and your Volcana. Compare those monsters and see, like, do you think that those have largely different kinds of challenge, excuse me?
It's a really interesting way to think about it. I think the portable team, just judging by some of those things, might value the spectacle a little bit more. I think that that's definitely something to touch on. Like, a lot of the portable team monsters feel a bit flashier. So I think that that's interesting, and that tends to change the challenge a little bit in terms of like how they telegraph their attacks, etc., etc. It's really hard. Like, when you consider the different kinds of challenge present within a Monster Hunter game, like getting money and items within this game it's a pain. Like, you feel like you're working really hard for every individual bit of gear. Where I was
3 ultimates specifically?
Yeah, 3 ultimates specifically. 4U, maybe less so, but I haven't really, like, played 4U in a really analytical way in quite some time. So maybe it's a bit like that. Whereas the portable team tends to put more thought into the combat. Like the challenge lies more within, it's a quicker paced game, not just a quicker paced combat, but a quicker paced game. Like you earn materials a little bit faster. They want you to get gear a little bit quicker.
That's largely true. It varies from game to game. Like it's not you can't draw a through line of like, look, these features exist the same way in all the portable games, but like across the games, that is largely true in each generation. That the portable games do make it a little easier to obtain certain things.
Yeah. So I think in general, it depends on maybe the director wants you to derive joy from different things. Like maybe I could definitely see it being the case that the Ichinose team looks at it like, we want you to derive joy from doing hard and flashy hunts. Like if you look at the Deviants and the EX Deviants, they are nutty. Like those are big combat challenges that don't give you any gigantic reward, but they give you like flashy colors or what have you. Whereas in this game, they want 5 Lagiacrus horns and an Elder Dragon blood from me to upgrade my sword once. So I think that they want me to derive joy from like crafting a set and being like, yep, cool, I did it. Like I can put it on the shelf now and I can hunt with my cool Lagiacrus sword. So I think that might have something to do with the design philosophy, but it's really tricky for me to comment or even attempt to comment without having read something or really understanding. So I'm just deriving from contextual clues. But yes, I would say the director takes it a long way, but you know, also the question of how involved with how many materials to make a certain thing do they have their fingers in.
I don't think we'll really be able to tell how much of the individual teams' like differences and the game's differences come from the directors themselves and not just the teams. I do think there are some funny consistencies, like that Hammer is usually pretty strong in the main series entries and that Longsword's pretty strong in the portable team's entries. But I don't think, outside of some of those things where you're like, I wonder why that is, like outside of some of that stuff, I don't really think that you can point a finger at it and be like, aha, it's exactly Fujioka-san and Ryozo, or like, it's exactly Ichinose. Like, I don't really think you can do that as much as people sometimes would like to, whether they're doing it seriously or not.
Yeah.
For me, I genuinely don't think that there is a consistent kind of challenge difference between the two teams. I think most recently you have 2 data points from the portable team that really kind of gel well together. Like I think Rise and Generations Ultimate have some pretty clear similarities, not just in terms of the hunter arts and styles, but also the deviants and also some of the ways that they approach the combat. And so I think like that's 2 data points right there. But out of the 4 different like main portable games that we're talking about, those being Freeman Knight, Portable Third, Generations Ultimate, and Rise, it's like that's only half of them. And I don't really feel like, I mean, I guess, let's see, when you think about Dose and Freeman Knight, there definitely was more of a focus on combat in Freeman Knight than Dose. That's pretty well documented, whether it's in that 3-hour video or just in the fact that you have to spend a lot more time futzing around to do anything in Dose than you do in Freeman Knight. It's a lot more streamlined. Whereas I guess Portable Third to try, I don't know, that's the weird one out to me, which I guess Portable Third could probably be described as the weird one out in many different contexts. But I think maybe, you know what, I didn't even think about it like that at first, but maybe if you look at that and you say that Freeman Knight is a lot more focused on combat than Dose, I think you could say that in general, the portable games are a little more focused on the combat, whereas the main series games are more content to focus on other aspects alongside the combat. I don't think they neglect it per se, but they're clearly not as wholly focused on the combat as some of the portable ones are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. You have like 10 coins and you can put them into different areas. And
yeah, it's like a D&D character.
Sometimes the combat has 4 coins and the gear building challenge has 6, and sometimes it's reversed around. Sorry for the terrible analogy.
It's okay, you're good. I don't think it was terrible.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, yeah, you're right. Like now that I think about it a lot, there is notable nuance, and maybe that's intentional, that they want us to interface with, I'm sorry, I tried to turn at the last second. They want us to interface with different parts of the game differently, because I know in this game, like I do genuinely, like in 3U in particular, if I make something, I feel like an absolute champ. Like, if I've actually made a piece of the gear. It feels like when I make that Neo Lagia sword, which is one of my endgame weapons I'm going for, I'm gonna feel rad about it. And I think that this game rewards you for collecting things more, for sure. In particular, 3U has some unintentionally very strong items. And I think that that's pretty meaningful. Whereas, yeah, I think maybe the portable team just wants you to experience these cool fights so you can tell your friends about it. It's all for bragging rights, just in different ways. I think that's neat. But definitely my experience, and I think maybe it just takes a little bit less every single game iteration. But yeah, definitely in the portable ones that I have played, it does feel like I don't have to work too hard for gear. Like in Freedom Unite, a game that I was expecting to be a lot more like 3U in terms of what it wanted from me in regards to materials, it didn't want too much.
There's some hellish stuff sprinkled in there.
Yeah, I'm positive that that's the case, and maybe I just didn't step on that particular landmine. But no, I don't think either of the teams necessarily have a big, grandiose difference in design philosophy, at least not one that's reflected. But there are definitely some nuances, and I think that that's valuable to look at as well. And
I appreciate you.
Nuance. Yeah, nuance. Like, now that I think about it and how I interface with certain things differently, I think that's pretty darn cool.
All right, we'll end with the simple, easy kind of like what everyone wants to know. Well, Fallison, which one do you prefer? Do you think you're more of a main series man, or are you more of a portable pal?
I think, in general, I've played more of the main series, and maybe let's just say I enjoy World more than I enjoy Rise at this current point. But it doesn't mean that I necessarily, I don't dislike it. I just enjoy I enjoy the collecting element. And to me, the fun in like a lot of Monster Hunter is like, it's a nice balance between, I wish Rise wanted me to fight the same monsters a little bit more, be it through making gear or rewarding me with something. But also, I wish some of the monsters were a little bit harder. So it's sort of a tricky one.
I think I personally have, like, looking at it just objectively, I've enjoyed quite a few of the entries I've played in the series, but a lot of the ones that I've kind of felt are some of my really beloved experiences. Not all of them, but a lot of them have been from the portable team, and I think I just kind of gel a little bit more with the entries from that team that I've played.
Yeah.
Not to say that I even I'm not disliking this game. I don't dislike 4U. I don't dislike everything about World. I just like some things because it changes a lot of things up, but
yeah. I
don't know. Even still, I think I wouldn't say like, oh, I don't like those main team games. They ruin everything. No.
No. I don't think that either of us are trying to say that. Heck, I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone to say that anyway. But they are different.
You should watch that 3-hour dose video, my guy.
I'll get into it eventually. Maybe I'll fall asleep to it tonight. But yeah,
it has many, many thoughts in it, and they're all thought-provoking, even if some of them are not ones you'll agree with.
Yeah, I think we've come to terms that I disagree with a lot of points at any given time. And I'm obnoxious for it, and I'm not changing it at any given time. And you suckers have to deal with it every 2 weeks, without fail, until Rist and I have a big fight. And then we make up. There will be a 1 week miss. But yeah, like, I don't think that it's necessarily that like one generation is for one type of player or the other generation is for another. I think that every Monster Hunter game is for everyone, but despite being similar at face value, they have some nuances that you'll appreciate or not appreciate. And it's not even on the level of like, oh, do you like underwater combat? Do you like fly above? It's the things that are ingrained into the DNA of Monster Hunter do actually just get changed from entry to entry. And the portable team, like, not consistently, but they have a different idea of what kind of challenge they're trying to give us, and the main team's the same. So yeah, I'm very excited. Like, I hope that grandiose fight that we're gonna have doesn't fall on the episode where Monster Hunter 6 we have some information about it. We see what it's gonna look like, because that is really the entry where I feel like it will contextualize a lot of the series for me. Because I do feel, despite being quite a well-versed team, the Monster Hunter devs, like, they've got a long way to go. I think that they've got a long road ahead of them in terms of where they're going to take the series. Truthfully, I don't think it's going to remain like this for many more entries.
Oh, shoot.
Did you get blasted?
No, I just missed the head several times.
Peep this. Wide gun lance burst into knock Rist so that he can get up and hit the head off the roar easier.
Oh, I
Never
could have
mind.
if I'd been a little quicker on the draw there.
I had an epic speedrun strat. But yeah, I feel like a lot of Monster Hunter discourse, and this is a good thing, stems from everyone's different interpretation of like what a specific thing should be. And there's no like general consensus, because no one, like, you ever notice when people argue online, they'll always point to something the creator said, but they wanted it to be like this. None. There is like almost none of that for Monster Hunter, and I think that that's what makes it such a hot and heavy discussion game.
She's headed up to 7.
Beg your pardon?
She's headed up to 7.
I thought you said something about Uchi.
No, I didn't say anything about Uchi.
Uchi's headed up to heaven. Oh, God.
Oh no, no. They're well, there are worse places to be, I guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna put him there.
Another threat. What did I tell you about lawyers earlier, Phal?
Sorry, I'll stop threatening. But yeah, it's, oh man, the design philosophy is so fascinating. And again, I always appreciate you guys and you for pushing me to think about it in ways that I might not have noticed. Sometimes you gotta stop and smell the roses. It's nice to be constantly learning things about what is basically my favorite series. But
man, that head angle is really tough to hit. Like, it's tough to hit her head when she's up in the air in this game. I need to get better at it. I want to get lots of sick dunks out of the air. That's all I really want for Christmas this year.
I just like to shoot the gun.
Mark, that's such a hard question. Do you want to take a question from the chat, Allison?
Yep, I'll take it.
So knowing
what
hearing what you heard about Dose earlier, about how unique Dose is, and I guess, I don't know if you've played Portable Third, but knowing how beloved Portable Third is for some people, would you take a Dose G-Rank expansion or a Portable Third G-Rank expansion?
Dose.
I think I'd have to answer Dose too, even though I really love Portable Third.
The reason I would say Dose is because it aligns relatively well. Remember, okay, in the first episode of this podcast, I banged on for a little while about my idea for an open world Monster Hunter where it has interchanging seasons, a day-night cycle where you actually have to track the monsters and like go find them, and that deals well with the power creep. And Dose seems like it fits that bill. Not exactly. There are some things about the way it was implemented that I read about that I didn't like. But Big G Money, I can handle your hot takes, but I don't handle people bickering for no good reason. You can post them, just understand people will disagree with you. But don't worry. So, why would you take Dose over Portable Third despite P-Third being one of your favorites, if not your favorite?
Honestly, I feel like a G-Rank might take away some of the reasons that I enjoy Portable Third. I enjoy Portable Third because it's refreshing and short, and it's got a more limited monster roster. I don't have to fight frickin' Teostra for the 8 millionth time. There's no frickin' crabs, and, well, I miss the crabs, I guess, but there's no monkeys, there's no Velociprays, nothing like that. I don't know. I think there's something nice about that. I don't dislike those things, but it's just like, I think there's something nice about having a game where it is more limited, is more simplistic. It is just about like, hey, this game isn't ultra long, there's no big end game grind. You play this game, it's super pleasant, it's a nice sweet spot in the series in terms of complexity and simplicity and new and old. And I think that a G rank might change that a little bit. Whereas Dose, I feel like, is one of the more unique games in the series and deserves to be expanded upon like that.
Yeah, I think that is a really valid interpretation. And I think, like, just having the high rank games, like, you know, I got 300 hours out of Rise, and just having high rank in that game, it doesn't feel like I'm having to fight tooth and nail against certain things like I do in G rank. Sometimes just doing a high rank hunt is nice. It's not too... on my screen, you just like clipped through the world, like climbed on the floor.
With that opinion, I can't help but wonder what the sweet spot of content in Monster Hunter is. I mean, I don't dislike the big games either. Like, I had a lot of fun playing 4 Ultimate last year. It's chock full of content. It's not like I don't think that has a place, and I think you have to find a sweet spot. I just think it's worth enjoying the shorter games, and it's worth enjoying the longer games, and understanding that, like, there'll be longer games, there'll be shorter games. Enjoy the short games when you have them. Enjoy the long games when you have them, and understand that they have different pros and cons. There doesn't always need to be a best or a best balance. Or like, I don't know. Maybe there is an ideal balance somewhere in there that's like, I don't know. Doesn't have too many monsters, doesn't have too many monsters, doesn't have too much like crazy stuff you have to end up doing. I don't know. I think there's a sweet spot there.
Yeah, one criticism I would offer of this game is like a lot of the unique monsters are A, not really that unique, and B, locked behind either hub or they're either locked behind hub, which is not uncommon, or why can't I articulate this? Brain, do the wording. They just take a long time to get there.
Val, I would just like to draw your attention to the fact that there's somebody in chat who is saying that they would like Rathalos to not return. It's Mr. Ken.
I still like Rathalos. I don't mind that he's here.
You once spoke pretty passionately about not wanting him around, I so I just thought I'd point it out.
I was misinterpreted. I was misinterpreted. Like I've said before.
Ken, a sizable portion of one of our episodes on this podcast was spent bickering, maybe not bickering, but discussing if Monster Hunter would be better off with some of the mainstays like Rathalos jettisoned for a little while.
Yeah, I think that they could. I think that they could ditch the poster boy to, for sure, put in a whole. I want another 3U in the sense that they just throw in a whole bunch of new monsters with like a new skeleton and stuff. Did Rise get a new skeleton? Yep. See.
It brought, well, I guess, I don't think that we'll see as many new, well, I guess, I don't even know what Bisheten is, but
Monkey.
I think that for a while, Phal, you'll see them, rather than develop new skeletons, I think that what they will do is they will probably update and bring skeletons that they haven't into the 5th gen movement and animations and everything, which is what they did with Leviathans in Rise. They didn't have Leviathans like Mizu and Almudron and stuff like that prior to Rise, working at least. Very true. And the spider skeleton is somewhat new. It's not the same skeleton as Nursilla.
The Nepterodon.
It's definitely different.
It's not. Yeah. I was gonna say it's not the Nepterodon. Otherwise, they'd have Nursilla and Celtus Queen. By the way, I love Celtus plus Celtus Queen.
Me too. You know what? I hate Desert Celtus Queen in G rank specifically, but that's a pretty freaking cool monster. Even if it's like, it's kind of like a Duramboros where it's like, this monster's a bear to fight, but it's so cool. You just gotta enjoy it sometimes. If you gotta grind it, maybe you don't enjoy every second of it, but that's true of a lot of monsters.
Yeah, my favorite monster is still Zamtrios. That's unprompted and no one asked, but I just kind of wanted to.
It's a good one. I was hoping we would get in Rise. Maybe we still will. All right. Are there any other hunts you'd like to do? We could do a Crimson Kurapeko. We could do some Great Rogi or Royal Ludroth. We could do another. We could do another something we've already done if you wanted to make some armor.
I'm not too fussed on armor. I'm embroiled in the conversation more than I am in the hunts. For sure.
Cool, that's fine. I mean, I think we're having a good time hunting tonight. We've taken on some high rank stuff for the first time.
Absolutely.
I'm glad the conversation's been holding your attention.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that it has been the same deal for you.
I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's man, a lot to unpack. A lot to unpack.
Billy Ray Cyrus, much to think about.
What? Billy Ray Cyrus?
Have you not seen the picture of Billy Ray Cyrus saying?
Let me Google a picture of Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray.
Billy Ray Cyrus, much to think about. We'll get you what you're looking for.
Oh. He does look contemplative there.
I love that.
Oh, that was his. He tweeted that.
He did. I know. It's amazing.
That caption. That's way more fun.
I know. It's one of my favorites. Much to think about.
It is done.
What are we hunting next, Mr. Phal?
It's up to you, my friend.
All right, let's do a Crimson Pecco. I'm going to stick with Hunting Horn. I'm having fun with Hunting Horn tonight.
I'm going to swap to Longsword because it's OP and has a counter.
And you won't bounce on the Flintstones.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so funny because a lot of what I say does come with the caveat of my opinion will change with whatever Monster Hunter 6 is because it will give me some clarification on some ideas of where I think that they're going to take stuff.
You know, Phal, that's something I'm really looking forward to a lot. I just had the thought for the first time tonight is when Monster Hunter 6 comes out, we're going to have to, like, pretty promptly, I think, maybe a day or two in, we should definitely have a big old cast just full of fun talk about it. And
you know it, baby.
That's something where like I've talked about stuff like that with chat as we've played through new Monster Hunter releases, but I think that a podcast right around the release of a new game, it's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, I can safely say that I speak for all of your chat room, and they don't even need to come and say anything because I speak on their behalf because they all agree all the time. But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have a good time
next summer.
Even when Sunbreak comes out, I think I'm really excited because I think Iceborne brought a lot of iteration even on.
It changed World a lot. I didn't enjoy Base World that much, but Iceborne fixed a lot of things for me.
Man, I loved the changes they made to the weapons, like at the time. I think that Rise, in my opinion, took some of them one step too far, but I think that they made some of those weapons so satisfying. I remember seeing Perfect Rush trailer for the first time on Sword and Shield. My brain exploded. I was like, that's the sickest. They gave us a cool execution combo move, and then they made it easier to pull off in Rise. I actually wish it was harder to do.
Yeah.
But
I got the secret area spawn, so I'll be there in a minute. I'm mooching some nice rare gathering materials now.
No problem. Yeah, Civ. I'll take Diving Wyvern all day, every day, because it's like a cool Dragoon. Whomever made the Rajang, who hurt you? Alex Meister, I'm firmly of the opinion that a lot of first and second gen monsters carried their jank with them upwards. And I think that that's probably my worst opinion.
Well, I wish I could say that was true for Tigrex. It sure isn't.
Oh, like, yeah, can we all just admit that Tigrex was bad in Freedom Unite, and he's not fun, and he has bad hitboxes, and I don't like fighting him.
We've talked about it before, and I agree with you, but it also doesn't change the fact that no Tigrex after that is really Tigrex after you've experienced that.
Yeah, it's true. However, I have always really enjoyed the variants of Tigrex. That's a question
They're really good.
I wanted to bring up. What's the difference between a variant and a subspecies?
No, I have nothing to say.
Sorry. Okay, you know, I like Crimson Kurapeko. He's red and he has cool lightning.
I have nothing to say about what's the difference between a subspecies and a rare species and all that. I have nothing to add.
You got a point. Yeah, never mind. Sorry, it's over. Hey,
you can talk about it. I wasn't actually trying to shut you down.
I was genuinely asking a question, but
I just don't have anything to add about that.
I want to talk about Duramboros speedrunning now. Probably not very fast.
ProCal, I mentioned to Mr. Phal earlier that you were the person to ask about Duramboros speedrunning.
Oh, Oh, you brought in Groggy, not Devil Joe. That's nice.
That is nice. I don't actually think I was mentally prepared for a Devil Joe hunt at this late at night. Uchi,
Yep.
I don't want to disregard your opinion. You can say what you think is the reasoning. I just think that, like, for a lot of the series, they haven't had a concrete answer behind, like, what's the difference between this type of monster and that type of monster. It's a pretty big moving target.
I think that fits kind of well into my, like, not everything's incredibly well thought out type deal. Like, why is a Cantor not an Elder Dragon? I get that he's a
flying.
I've genuinely, yeah, I know. I've had that question answered. It's because he's a flying wyvern. All right, cool. Glad we settled that. But why is he not an Elder Dragon?
Because he's a flying wyvern. What? You didn't see him fly?
Yeah, I love his. He does have vestigial wings. I'll take that. But it's tricky. I think that's like one of the very yeah, this is why we argue about stuff so much. It's because Acanthor is a flying wyvern. Ucanlos is a oh god, I am poisoned. I am so poisoned that it's not even funny. Get out of here, Roggy.
Zone if you need to. Why isn't Magnamalo an Elder Dragon? Why isn't Nergigante
me.
Why isn't Nergigante an Elder Dragon?
Wait, he's not?
Is he not? I don't think he is. I think he eats Elder Dragons. Or is he the Elder that eats Elders? Oh, is he not? Oh, Nerg is an Elder. I'm just showing how long it's been since I've played World. Shit.
No worries, no worries.
Don't worry about it. He is an Elder Dragon. Don't worry about it.
Alright. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I know that they have like some flimsy thing of like, Elder Dragons have the ability to change the environment in which they are. Which, sure. But Acanthor is pretty big. I bet you he could change stuff. But yeah, I'm not gonna hear that like Kieran isn't, you know, he's not a dragon, he's a horse.
I'd feel bad about it, Martz, if it mattered. If it was consistent across the series, I might feel bad about it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a hard conversation to have.
I do feel bad about it because I do this like 30 hours a week. I should know that.
No, look, there's a lot to internalize, and if any of the information was consistent across the board, then maybe, just maybe I would let you feel guilty for making a goof like that. But, you know, if we live in a world where Acanthor isn't one, we can live in a world where Acanthor's,
nice stagger.
Nergigante isn't one. Thanks. Yeah, but what did Teostra make? Teostra made
explosions.
Fire do things. Yeah,
explosions.
Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty.
No, I do. That is something I honestly do feel badly. Anytime I say something, either whether I truly believe it or like in that case, or I just forget, I feel so bad, dude.
What,
I know there's no way for me to know. Yeah, I know there's no way for me to know everything about Monster Hunter, but I mean, like, that's stuff I've definitely known in the past, and I just forgot it, and it's just like, man, I wish I was less forgetful about this stuff.
What classification is Gore? I ask this knowing the answer.
He's unknown.
Yeah, question marks. I somehow whiffed that, despite being inside of his body, wearing him as a skin suit. I whiffed.
My friend in the Discord, Sachi, was saying that they're playing through Ultimate recently. They've been having a lot of issues with their attacks just kind of missing, like going through monsters when they think they shouldn't. I haven't noticed that personally, but I was just kind of, I don't know. I haven't noticed that personally about 3 Ultimate, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen to folks.
Yeah. Sorry for being a longsword main.
You're good. I didn't even get hit, I don't think.
I do my best. Yeah. I think the classifications are just like flimsy at best, confusing at worst.
I don't know if I missed Uchi's explanation. They said they had an explanation. I wanted to hear it. I've probably heard it in the past. If I've made them feel like it wasn't valid in the past, I don't know. I feel bad. I don't want to make people feel like their explanations or what they think isn't valid about it. I don't know. I don't know if the developers have really ever given a concrete answer about it.
I think they very vaguely tried.
I got you, Uchi. That's fine.
That's something someone who doesn't have a real explanation would say.
Shush, Phal. You don't bully Uchi.
You're right. But also, we do bully Uchi.
I don't.
We do a little... Okay. Well, you know, you gotta have a little yin and yang in life.
They can come to your stream when they want to get their daily dose of bully.
You got it.
It's a visual issue with some weapons being actually bigger than their hitboxes. I think specifically Sachi was talking about Greatsword in this game and having issues with it there.
Alex, I think that's fair. But yeah, there's a lot of intrigue.
Yeah, Marts, this game. They were having some issues with saying that like they would have their weapon like go straight through a monster and not have it connect a hit in this game. I never noticed that personally, which is why I'm kind of bringing it up just to see if others have shared that experience.
One thing that I am interested in, and I'm not trying to start a fight.
It's a good starter.
Do you think people are warming up to some of the ideas presented for monsters in Frontier? Because Lord knows I like them.
I mean, people in general, like, yes, there are more people on this planet walking around going, you know, I'd like to try something from Monster Hunter Frontier than there were in the past. I think that's true. I think it being taken away and others, and like it being taken away and people doing a good job of trying to preserve it by showcasing it through videos and descriptions and writing what was in that game have made it so that there are more people now than ever who'd like to play Frontier. I don't think that in terms of the percentage of Monster Hunter fans, it's like there are more people now because there's just so many more Monster Hunter fans now.
I guess my question more is, do you think many people have changed their mind?
Maybe.
That's not fair. He's pretending to be Gypsaros. But yeah, as like an example, the one what does magnet stuff? I don't know him. Do we think he's too much? Like, where do we draw the line on Frontier monsters? What do we think is too much?
I don't.
Because I've never quite gotten a basis for what people's interpretation of too much is.
I mean, I'll take them all.
Yeah, I'll take them all.
So I'm a
as
pretty
well.
bad person to ask about it.
Yeah, okay, so you don't mind if they're based in reality all that much, but
no,
yeah,
I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like as long as you still have some of the monsters that are kind of very, like, at least somewhat based in older Monster Hunter, that's a little more grounded, like, as long as, not even older Monster Hunters, as long as you have monsters that are a little more grounded than some of the crazier out there ones, I think you can scale it all the way up to some of the crazy things that Frontier has. It's just about the proper progression and, like, series of monsters leading up to that and balance of that in the cast. I think Frontier's balance was skewed. There probably weren't enough like well-balanced designs to balance out the crazy ones. But at the same time, I feel like if you add them to the main series, it just might work. Some of them at least.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I don't know. I've always been intrigued by that sentiment of Frontier bad. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. I guess I just don't share it.
I think I have a really hard time hitting this thing's head.
Yeah, like it is. They are like comically tall.
This one's like a big one too, I think.
They're obnoxiously tall, like just out of reach.
Yeah, I think this one is a large one. Is he coming over here to sing or is he leaving? Okay, he's leaving. I was gonna say it would be obnoxious if he ran all the way down here to sing.
Yeah.
I think as the main series itself gets a little more out there with some of its designs, I think you'll find more people who are more open to that, I guess. They might not be open to some of the crazy balancing decisions that were in Frontier, though, if you told them about them. I recently read a pretty nice summary of some of the ways that that game totally destroyed several times over its own balancing for the sake of newer, tougher content and stuff that was like scaled in a certain way to take on the new tough content, but not the old content.
Yeah, I'll pay that 100%.
Where we had someone in chat a couple days ago asking about, like, I think they should have just kept adding on to World forever. And that's an interesting thought. And I kind of talked to them about, like, I don't think you'd be able to do that in a way that felt elegant, and I think you would do that in a way that where, like, even if your goal wasn't just like even if your goal wasn't overhaul tons of crazy mechanics or add tons of crazy mechanics, you're gonna have to keep upping the power at some point to keep people satisfied. If you just kept making weaker equipment, it wouldn't work very well. You'd have to, like, keep upping the power like they were when the game was getting updates. Like, I don't know. I'm really glad for the structure that the games have, where they do a game and an expansion and then they're done.
Yep. No, I agree. I think on, like, episode 3 of the podcast, I did ask a question, like...
We might have even talked about it before.
Yeah, how would you feel if they structured it like an MMO in that way? And I think, yeah, generally speaking, the power creep would get a bit too much. So, like, and at its core, Monster Hunter is an RPG, so at some point you do have to be reset back to 1. Like, there's a reason we look at stuff like RuneScape and even Monster Hunter, where people just make new accounts or new files because they want that feeling of building up again, because that's a big part of it. And yeah, sure, like, ever adding content would mitigate that feeling of, like, oh yeah, I've run out of things to do, like, my checklist is done.
Yeah, their argument for it was, like, that game sold the best, it's got the biggest audience, I don't know why they keep dividing the player base, or I don't know why they keep like, I don't know why they wouldn't just build on that. And it's like, well, I think that they can build on that by making consistently good games, even if it's not the same game forever and ever. It's just, it's probably coming from more of a live service oriented mindset, or some games that they've experienced that they thought worked well as a live service.
Yeah. One thing that I enjoyed a lot about some of the stuff I've seen from Frontier, we talked a little bit about today, was some of the movesets changes that they gave to, like, some of the older monsters to make them feel a bit bigger. Like the uppercut that they gave to Zinogre and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Marth asks, could you argue that G rank is power creeping of high rank? Absolutely, it totally is. Yeah, 100%. It's just like there's a limit to how much of that is good for a game. I
think that G rank is remarkably different. Like, playing G rank is a very, very different experience than playing low rank / high rank. I think that a lot changes when you get to G rank. Like, how you have to play is almost always functionally different.
Nice hunt.
Very nice. I managed to stay in red for a while. It made me feel like a big man. Roggy, can you please make tracks?
If Final Fantasy can have Final Fantasy 14, Monster Hunter should have an English MMO counterpart to the main series. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that this combat system lends itself well to MMOs.
Yeah, and
I don't think that the MMO market is in the space where it needs more MMOs.
Very true. Very true. Can you let me carve, please? Roggy? No, I don't think World did get close. I think the closest that they ever came was Frontier, and they're either gonna reinstate Frontier in English, which is like a 1% chance that it ever happens, or if, like, the closest that they would get would be they would do something similar to Frontier, but it would be remarkably different and not at all what you're imagining. And I think Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy are very different in terms of, like, how they could function as MMOs. FF11 was an MMO, yes.
Wasn't there one before that too?
Nope, it was 11 and 14.
To those who are just joining us, including my good friend Jawline Kuhn, Jose, welcome.
Hello.
We're doing a 3 Ultimate podcast tonight, talk about all kinds of stuff about Monster Hunter, whether it's Monster Hunter Frontier and live service games for Monster Hunter, or the different teams that develop the Monster Hunter games. We're just sitting here and, I don't know, talking the talk, enjoying some Monster Hunter.
Just to provide some context, FF11 not only still exists and is a completely different game to Final Fantasy 14, it still gets new content.
Really?
And yep, that's on the whim of Final Fantasy 14's director.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yep, it's still online and it still gets new content. They just got like a 20th anniversary update or something like that. FF9 was not an MMO. No.
Okay, I thought there was an online one before before 11, but maybe I just don't know my Final Fantasy very well, which is totally a distinct possibility.
No, there was only ever 2 MMOs.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, Phal, what do you think we do next? There's a regular Cur Pecco, there's double Jaggy, double Ludroth, double Roggy.
I need stuff from Jaggy, so...
Jaggy? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do the Great Jaggy quest then. Gotcha.
I'm going to swap off Longsword, otherwise I'm gonna beat you up.
You were doing okay.
I was doing my best. But yeah, Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14 coexist.
I guess
11...
You go ahead.
Please. 11 is a crazy game for insane people. I've watched people play that game a little bit. They do not play even remotely similarly. 11 still has kind of a turn-based thing going on, where 14 is closer to WoW.
Mm-hmm. I'm torn on the idea of a Monster Hunter MMO. For one, I just think it would do poorly. I don't think that MMOs are really... I think that the MMO market just isn't in a place where it accepts lots more MMOs at this point. I think Final Fantasy XIV is a glorious outlier, but not at all the rule in terms of what you can expect games to achieve in that space anymore. I think that I understand the want for like, hey, I want something where I can journey through this game and have my characters stay the same across multiple years of progression, slowly leveling up and changing and getting to experience all these new things as they happen. And that's really cool. When you look at some of the balancing issues that MMOs in general have, but especially Frontier, it's like, I just don't think that you can have an MMO fit in with something that's supposed to be so... I don't know. I don't think you can fit in with something as tactically delicate as Monster Hunter, I guess.
Yeah, I think
that's my subtle dig at MMO combats being a little less tactical and a little bit less delicate than this. I'm
gonna show you something at some point, but that's neither here nor there. I think Frontier, they could re-release it, but they'd have to gut it with they'd have to gut the MMO elements and make it a more traditional Monster Hunter experience. It's a weird way to say it, I guess. Like, they'd have to gut the sub-based model that they have for that game. There's a lot of good ideas, and they could do a lot with the content that they have, and people would play it. Lord knows I would. But I'd pay the one-time fee. I would not be content playing a monthly sub for Monster Hunter.
I mean, if they re-released Frontier, I would pay a sub straight up to play it. I don't care, even if it was as busted as it was before. Hey, I'm getting a raid on my end from Pikmin Jake. You know, Fallison, you know the video I've been telling you to watch? Mm-hmm. This is Mr. Jacob himself, the person who made that video. So here he is. He's coming to our stream. Thanks for the raid, Pikmin Jake. Welcome, Raiders.
How about that?
Tonight we are doing a 3 Ultimate podcast. It's a little bit, don't shill your video. We've talked about it several times tonight. I'm not just shilling it. It's come up in discussion. Tonight we are doing a 3 Ultimate podcast. We've talked a little bit about, we've talked a little bit about the differences between the main and portable teams. Not necessarily directly in response to your video, Mr. Jacob, but just in general, we were talking about some of the different ways that the games can diverge and what we think about those ways. And so it came up once or twice. But then we're also talking a little bit right now about if we think that Monster Hunter in general could handle being turned into an MMO, or if there could be a spin-off of Monster Hunter that was an MMO, or if we re-released if they re-released Frontier, how would that go? Like, what would they have to change about it? We're kind of just talking the talk about Monster Hunter tonight. That's what we usually do. It's 2 people tonight, two good pals tonight instead of 1.
Yeah, I think just got the MMO elements and it'll be fine. Oh,
Yes, Uchi. Pikmin Jake is Monster Hunter Jacob.
We share a name.
It's true.
How about that? Yeah,
and like there are positives to MMOs. Like you can fully immerse yourself and get lost. We've had some folks in the chat be a little more pro MMO, and I guess I personally think that there is a pretty limited scope in terms of how much you can add on to any one Monster Hunter game before it turns into a convoluted mess. Like, the plus of that is like, hey, my character is the same character I've gone through all these other bits of content with. As that slowly devolves into a mess where like the early content doesn't matter anymore, the systems don't mesh well together because they were designed multiple years apart. Like, I think there's so many more negatives that will negatively influence all aspects of Monster Hunter games that are designed that way, instead of just being like, hey, it's cool that this is a giant thing with so much content and it's the same character I get to go through it with. It's like, that's a plus, that's an upside. I think it would compromise a lot of the things that make Monster Hunter special, personally.
Yeah, just to like be reductive and boil it down to a sentence. Dark Souls would not work as a card game.
Okay. I like it. I'll dig it.
That's just.
Do you have both Jaggy here? You do, man. I should have brought my Jupiter Sphere. Dang it.
Beating the shit out of me. I think that like MMO elements would work for Monster Hunter, but don't make it like an MMO.
I don't know. I guess it's interesting. I would love to get to talk with somebody who played a lot of MMOs and hear them describe ways they think good MMO stuff could be taken into Monster Hunter. Because it's easy to say, like, okay, you'd have lots of stuff in the game. You'd have more stuff than the average Monster Hunter game. What else would be good from an MMO that would jive with Monster Hunter? And I feel like I'm not versed enough with MMOs to really tell you, oh, yeah, these aspects of this successful MMO and this aspect of this successful MMO would work great in a Monster Hunter game and wouldn't detract from the flow, even if they did get added into it over time.
Yeah, it could, like, alright. Before anyone runs away too much with that one. Yes, if they made a Dark Souls card game, you could play it, but it's not why you're playing Dark Souls.
Yo! That was a double KO!
And their heads are still here. No!
Did I hit you?
You bitch! You knocked me away. Oh, I'm going to consume you. I was about to double spin their noggins. But yeah, there are parts of this
I'm sorry,
that work as an MMO. But don't be mean to Rist. I'm not being mean to Rist. I'm simply threatening him with war.
Oh no, you can't say that on my stream.
It's on my stream.
Oh, you're right. Shoot. No, Uchi, don't tempt them. We should really add an auto timeout for that word. I think that'd be funny.
Go on, call the police. See what happens. But yeah, like they could certainly introduce more RPG elements, but like, what could they adapt about Monster Hunter to make it an MMO that it's like not already? Like, do you want a big world with a huge hub where you can go talk to other players? Because, you know, just go on Twitch chat or like look in the world builder.
I honestly would be okay with a more centralized world like that in between the actual quest instances. I think that'd be rad. Like a more elaborate version of what they were trying with Astera, you know, that actually like brings folks together. That would be cool. I'm down with that. Getting them talk with, getting to like talk the talk with random folks in like a village and having it feel way more like an actual village with hunters would be cool. Granted, at the scale that MMOs are usually, it would then go out the other end of the spectrum and be like, oh, there's a bajillion hunters. This is no longer immersive at all. Like, you'd have to tune it the right way with enough instances and stuff like that. But I really think it'd be cool having somewhere in between the just 4 people in a hub and a giant MMO like cesspool of players.
Yeah. I think that Frontier is the closest it got.
Well, exactly the MMO aspects of Frontier, there were loads. I mean, there were hub areas, there were, grinds that took actual years to get through. Like, legitimately grinds that took years to grind the materials up for particular pieces of equipment. There were pay-to-win aspects, there were oodles and oodles and oodles of expansions and mechanics all layered on top of one another. There's so many mechanics. Like, I was reading through this post about how it was balanced recently, some of the balancing failures that a private server potentially might mitigate, and there are so many mechanics I'd never even heard of before. And I've played Frontier, and I've watched videos about Frontier, and I know a little bit about it, and there were still so many things I'd never even friggin' heard of. Just infinitum, like mechanics and stuff, everything.
Yeah, but I think what we're describing is a very large Monster Hunter game with a centralized hub that's a little bit closer to the world. I don't think what we're discussing is actually an MMO. And I think a player-driven economy would be, like, I think it would be hilarious because you would just have hunters who, like, sell all of their RNG good drops And then like you have alchemists who are making potions because no one actually wants to make their stuff. But trust me, you cannot adapt Monster Hunter to an MMO formula without losing quite a lot of what makes it Monster Hunter.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say just a good night to Pikmin Jake. Thanks again for the raid.
Night, Jake. Thank you for rating this podcast. You know, I think I met Jake one time while I was playing Freedom Unite.
That would make sense.
But yeah. Me? Yeah, boy? I'd play Frontier. I would play the heck out of Frontier, because that's the closest they got to actually nailing what we're talking about. Either that, or like, go the other way and just make an open world Monster Hunter game like I've talked about before. And I won't elaborate on that idea. If you want to hear me explain the entire thing, go watch the first episode on Rist's YouTube.
I'm working on adding chapter markers even to these podcasts so that you'll be able to see vaguely when we transition between different discussion points. So that should make it a little easier to watch some of the podcasts on YouTube.
I did think like that.
Here is the Jaggy. He is here. He's just standing there. Alright. I don't have anything more intelligent to add to the MMO discussion, I don't think.
But yeah, like, MMOs just inherently have a very different tone and functionality. Like, it's hard to focus on a lot of things there. But yeah, trust me, like, if Frontier didn't work, any other idea that they like, Frontier was the best way that they could have handled it, I think. They made it its own thing while keeping the core relatively intact and allowing me to knock you in the air, and I'm sorry.
You're fine. I ruined your KO earlier.
You didn't ruin my KO. I ruined my KO.
I sure did ruin your KO.
No.
I mean, I might say that I was the one who got the KOs, but it was definitely some KO status from both of us being built up on those monsters, not just my own.
Anyway, thank you for doing this great joggy. I now don't remember why I needed it.
You needed Avian Fine Bones.
Yeah, I needed some other stuff.
It's for the Barioth Switch Axe upgrade you were talking to me about.
No, I don't remember. I needed some, like, other...
Alright.
Joggy pots. Great joggy pots. Yeah. I'm fascinated by where the series heads. But remember, one can have too much of a good thing. Yeah, Tuna, I feel the same way, but I think Frontier was a different kind of game, and for what it was, it seemed pretty darn good.
Alright, cheers, Marths. Have a good rest of your night.
You be good, Marths. Take good care of yourself.
Big G asks if we'd like to see any other spin-offs.
Sure,
I would like a Monster Hunter music rhythm game.
Yeah, I won't say no. I mean... I can't think of any, like...
I like DDR. I think some jazzed up versions of Monster Hunter songs in like a DDR game would be pretty rad.
Yep. It's yeah, like, why not? I mean, if it's a spin-off... The thing about spin-offs is, when you say, would you want more Monster Hunter spin-offs? The answer will invariably turn into, okay... Yes, I want more spin-offs, but I don't want what you're talking about specifically. And never speak to me again, you nerd. I think that would be fascinating. But yeah, like how they've delved into the spin-offs have been relatively well received. I don't know if there's enough novelty left in stories to get a third game out of it, but we shall see. Noisy neighbor.
I think I've got probably just, I don't know, maybe one to two or three more quests left in me this evening.
Yep, I am there with you, buddy.
It's been a nice stream. I think that was a nice topic to guide us through the evening.
Yeah. Alright, what weapon should I use?
I think I'm going to switch off of Hunting Horn here. I'm going to drop that quest for a minute. I'm over Hunting Horn on Kurapeko. The other one was just too big.
That's fair. I kind of want to make a sword and shield, but I don't know what kind I want to make.
Like being in the conversation. It's kind of tough to multitask chat with a more podcast oriented discussion, but I think we've kind of experimented with doing it a little bit, and I think we're both fine with it.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I like it. I'll need to research some sword and shields I want to make for next time.
This world is just too small. What do you mean, Uchi? Oh, the Pikmin guy showing up? Jake's actually raided quite a few times recently towards the end of our streams, Uchi. I think I met them on Twitter, and then they've come by the stream a handful of times. They've been streaming more for Ultimate recently.
On that note, though, like, look at all of the streaming categories for Monhun. It's a very small community.
I think that's to its positive, or to its benefit a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree, mostly. Mostly. I think that in a lot of ways it becomes an echo chamber.
Oh, sure, yeah, that's true.
Which doesn't allow productive conversation because people... Never mind. I'm just gonna say some mean stuff because I'm mean. Big mean guy.
Don't be mean.
Pardon?
Don't be mean.
I'm not gonna be mean. However, I will sincerely and certainly say I see the same opinions a lot, and a lot of people who can't explain why they have those opinions.
That's just folks being folks. That's just the internet.
Yep, absolutely correct. I'm not mean, okay? Sometimes I just want to voice an opinion. And it's not of like anyone in particular that I can even think of. Maybe it's just, maybe I need to get off Twitter as well. But sometimes I read stuff and I'm like, no, I don't think so. Buddy. Oh, you're gonna shoot him with a gun? Look at us go. Big Barrioth gamers.
Yeah, this poor Kurt Pekka's gonna not have a good time. I have sleep, so at some point here I'm gonna blow him up.
Okay, I'll bring some bombs.
Do you like my boots?
Yes. I can't see them. I don't have any bombs. Can I make bombs?
Oh, that's okay. I have 2 large barrel bomb pluses.
I made a barrel bomb S+. That's not right. That's not what I need. I think that'd be cool. Civ? Although, if you could inflict confusion to monsters, it would be very odd.
Phal, what do you think of my boots?
I like your boots. They're drip-laden, honestly.
Thanks.
I don't... Actually, no. I don't understand them. They're a boot, but they have, like, a drape over the top. Effluvia was new in world. Yes.
Uchi says nice podcast topic.
What, the boots?
Yeah.
Rate the fit? I'll bet it's because your name is Gregory. Big Gregory Money. First, middle, last name.
The middle name is Gregory.
Yep.
Good stuff.
First name Big.
Good stuff. I mean, dude, if I met somebody with the first name Big, I feel like that person would, I don't know, that person would have a commanding personality.
Perm asks, is there fashion Monhun like there is Fashionscape? Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Not in the older games so much, but in the newer ones that have transmog, yes.
Shiranori says it's their first time catching a cast, and they really like our conversation between each other.
Thank you, Shiranori. I'm sure you're very sweet. Man, that
Cheers.
was like the driest delivery that I could have given. The reality is, I've slept 2 hours a night for like 2 weeks trying to get something organized.
Yeah.
And in reality, I do want to wholeheartedly express my appreciation for you guys allowing me to steal Rist Phal away from you once every 2 weeks so that we can sit and gas bag, have a yarn about topics Monhun related.
It's been a fun
Truly,
time.
it's
I'm
very
glad-
humbling that anyone would come and listen to any nonsense, I have to say.
I think you are well spoken.
Thank
And
you.
you have interesting descriptions of things that make me go, huh.
Yeah, I've sort of learned that in life, my analogies are not good, but I like making analogies.
It's less the analogies, more like the albumin, like that.
I love albumin.
I'm aware.
Man. Tuna Fish Man says, what I like about old games is calling meta sets clown suits because they look so ugly. And you know what? It's true. I'm going to make some ugly sets for my 3U character by the end of it. It's going to be so good. And Big G money, that fills me with infinite joy.
Me too. I'm glad Big G is doing all right. I know they were waiting on things for quite a while. So hearing that it's over and actually getting better is good. Kerm, same to you.
I love the dinky, like, Star Wars blaster noise the Switch actually makes in this game.
Oh yeah.
At the very end. Pew!
Yeah, it is actually the Star Wars. I mean, I don't know if it's 100% the sound effect, but it sounds just like the Star Wars blaster sound effect. Ah, bad shots. Doesn't matter. Hit it.
Just say it's the lag.
It is the lag.
Get him! No! The Star Wars Holiday Special of podcast.
That's an insult.
You know, that is an insult. There is no self-abusing Wookiee involved in this stream. By the way. Man. I love that holiday Christmas special, but it's also the worst.
Thought you guys were going to name this thing already? We need to name it. By next time, surely.
How many times?
At least once more with Swan.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm content to just let you pick the name.
Ah, shoot. I aimed down instead of up.
Hi, Len. Goodbye, Len. Anyway, in regards to sponsors and NordVPN sponsors, I think if that was the case, I'm not allowed to use terms like self-abusing Wookiee. Yeah, we should do a holiday special.
We should. I don't know what we would do, but we'll come up with something.
You know it.
Phal, I will wear a Santa hat if you will wear a Santa hat. I know it's not actually Christmas and that Christmas isn't like July for you guys, but...
Excuse me? We celebrate Christmas on the 25th, we just have a different version of Jingle Bells.
Uh-oh, my mistake.
I'm not even kidding.
I know.
They use the term Rusty Holden U.
I'll wear a
I think
Santa
I-
hat if you'll wear a Santa hat.
Oh, you know. They're like 2 million but not Jingle Bells, Batman smells. Nah, it's something, driving through the bush in a Rusty Holden Ute. Kelpie by my side, Esky in the boot. That is Jingle Bells, actually, never mind. Can you tell me half of what the words I just said mean to you?
No.
Esky. Do you know what an Esky is?
No.
What if I gave it to you by the name Chili Bin?
No.
It's what you guys call a cooler. You take it to barbecues.
Oh. Okay.
Do you know
That's
what
an
a
esky?
ute is?
A what?
Yeah, that's an esky. An esky.
What was
How
the
about
second one?
a ute?
A ute?
U-T-E. A ute.
The only thing that comes to mind for me is from... What is that movie called? Oh, man. Shoot. My Cousin Vinny.
I don't know what this movie is.
It's a really good movie. There's this lawyer from New York that goes to like the deep south to try and save these two kids who are like wrongfully framed for a crime, and he's like the two Utes, And the judge is like, the what now? Because he's like talking about utes like donkeys or something.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's where the term comes from. A ute is what you call a truck, like a Chevy.
That could be where the term comes from.
Yeah. How about a Kelpie?
A Kelpie? I thought you were talking about Kelpies, like in Monster Hunter.
No, Kelpie by my side is the lyric.
No idea.
Esky in the boot. Yeah, a Kelpie is a dog, like a breed of dog, specifically, that's good at herding sheep.
Oh.
I think I already asked you
maybe we would call them a collie.
Border collies are a different...
Different thing? Okay.
Yeah. I think I already asked you about Schnitty for your shrapnel, so I can't...
No, we already... Yeah, you already asked us about that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Wrong foul? What? You don't live in my country. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It's a car with a tray. Would outpull anything a ute could? Okay, alright. I see that this is now a continental-based peeing competition. And you know what? Yeah, why not? America's better. Enjoy your hamburger hot dog. And not getting $15 an hour. A Kelpie is a mythological creature as well. It's a Scottish horse that will drown you in a river. Maybe I'm wrong on Scottish.
That will drown you in a river?
Yeah, it'll drown you in a river. That's
How? Why?
That's what it does. Why does it do that? I don't know. You ever meet a horse? They're pretty fickle, I would say.
Okay. That sounds like an awfully sentient horse.
Well, it's not real. It's mythological.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like a ghost horse.
I never slept the curb back though, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I didn't even bring models. But yeah, Australianisms are fun. I've never heard like an Americanism that I didn't understand. But yeah, horses are scary enough.
Do you know what a pasty is?
Like it's like a pastry with like corn, not corn, like carrot and stuff in it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like a Cornish pasty. Yeah, that's like a British thing. That's the thing, G-Money, you should.
I was trying to think of something up where I live here that would be like specifically weird. Hey, good job.
But yeah, we have pasties. One thing Americans do that I've never really done is eaten turkey.
Yeah, I have a turkey in my freezer right now.
Nice.
Not a whole turkey, but like bits of turkey.
Nice.
I don't know why his swipes phased right through me. I don't know why.
Because you're lucky. Car with a bed. I see people refer to like Chevys with like big,
Help!
like
Help!
big cars with trays in movies all the time. They'll call them a truck.
Ah!
They'll call them a truck. By the way, in the States, do you have like a big Thanksgiving dinner and then you'll have like a big Christmas dinner as well?
Yes.
You do both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Usually Christmas is ham. I'm sure different people around America eat different things, but I think the traditional one at Christmas is ham, and the traditional one at Thanksgiving is turkey. But you can do whatever you want. Some people just go out to get Chinese on Christmas.
I don't know what a Silverado is. I do know what an El Camino is, but my knowledge of an El Camino is from like television. Oh, also, what color is gravy to you?
Brown.
See, that's what I'm saying. Gravy is brown.
What color is other people's gravy?
In the South, they have it white because it's sausage gravy.
Yeah, I mean, that's like breakfast gravy.
Gravy for breakfast. What a concept.
Breakfast and biscuits, yeah. Or sorry, sausage and biscuits. Sausage, gravy, and biscuits. It's good. I mean, it is kind of gross, but it's good.
Yeah, we celebrate Easter here. We do like Easter egg hunts and stuff.
Is there any like? Of course there are probably, but what are some Australian specific holidays? They're like weird.
We have Australia Day. I think the weirdest one, not like weird in a bad way. It's just kind of odd to think about. We have Sorry Day.
What?
The
It's like a day
country
after my own heart, man.
Yeah, but it's sort of more grim than that. It's
Oh.
like the country's colonialists apologizing to indigenous Australians for what colonialists tended to do to indigenous people.
Sounds like something the US could adopt.
Yep, maybe.
Just maybe.
What else do we have? We have Labor Day, same as you. We celebrate the Queen's birthday. That's a day off.
Do you really?
Yep. Oh,
That's-
and the worst one.
The worst one?
Actually, there's two really bad ones. We have Cup Day, which is a day where people dress up, get drunk, and go watch people like race horses and they gamble on it. And that's a public holiday. Like you get a day off work to do that.
To go watch horse races?
Yep, specifically to like get drunk and watch horse races.
That sounds like
And
St.
then
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and then we also have Grand Final Day, the Australian Grand Final.
Does that have something to do with like Evo or fighting games?
No, it's for Australian football.
Oh, okay. I guess that's fine. I guess.
We got a day off. Cup Day? No, Cup Day is horrible. I hate it, but I can understand why on paper it sounds good. But yeah, like it probably sounds absurd that we get a day off to watch the footy.
Uchi's upset with me
Why?
because I asked you if Grand Final Day was about fighting games.
I wish. The Evo Grand Final?
Someday,
that would
man.
be-
Someday.
Yeah, one day. One of these
Someday
days,
you're gonna get a
I'm
bank
be
holiday
normal.
for Melty Blood.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Is there any monster you know you need materials from that you'd like to fight again? I don't really feel like doing a double Great Rogi or a double Great Royal Lugoth right now.
I understand. Man, I want to play Melty Blood so bad. I'm waiting for.
I don't know anything
Sailor.
about Melty Blood. I just pulled that out of a hat. I was like, nah, this is a fighting game.
It's a 2D anime fighter, but unlike Guilty Gear Strive, it rewards you for being better at defense than offense. Well, Shiranori, if you get type Lumina, you hit me up so that I can get bodied.
We're gonna do Pink Rathian.
Another
And on a bang, yeah.
obnoxious subnames. At least it's not like In Night Rebirth Understay / Double X Cross Guilty Gear Accent Core Zerd Revelator 2 Strive now featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series with funky new mode. Like genuinely, the Melty Blood game that came out before this one was on the PS2 and it's called Melty Blood Actress Again. None of these things are relative to anything ever.
Oh, it's based on a visual novel. I didn't know that.
It's based on Tsukihime. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, like, all of them are made by Arc System Works, even the ones that are made by French Bread.
Yep.
And all of them have long names, and all of them are good. Like, Guilty Gear. That's a funny name for a game, and it's even funnier that one of the main characters does the meme and directly refers to themselves as the Guilty Gear, because they are.
Okay.
It's me. I'm the Guilty Gear. Yep, that's pretty much verbatim the line there, Ruchi.
Makes me happy that Monster Hunter's naming conventions are so straightforward.
Monster Hunter. Very good.
I'm very glad I have an a high rank gunner set for this.
Yeah,
She's spooky.
very true. Yeah, that's a great name, too. my favorite fighting game is you think he loves you for your money, but he really loves you for your new leopard print pillbox hat. That's not a fighting game, that's a Death Grip song. And I think I bricked the name.
Gosh darn it, she flew away from me again. She's in the cave right now. I think she's gonna head either up to Area 9 or out to the waterfall, or up to the middle area.
You're not on, oh, you are on my map. I'm just not wearing my glasses.
Okay, I think she's headed out to Area 9, so up past the river.
Neat.
Hello, Schmegel Eskimo.
I think that's a fun question. What was the last band you saw live in concert? Dimension of Death Grips. This is a large gal.
I think I've seen like less than 2 or 3 bands live in my life, so not many. I don't remember. Not much of a band goer.
Fair enough. Ooh, peep the iframe, lads.
Feels so good.
Yeah, sometimes you hit fat iframes, and then no one in the chat says, "Hey, nice iframe." And honestly, it wasn't worth it. You saw the Strokes? Did they play? Dun, 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 dun. And yes, I do know the name of the song, but that's their only song. Excuse you.
Huh?
A red tie with a shirt. Sorry, she like hit me through. She like it collided with my shield's hitbox, and then like the flame breath instantly hit behind me.
Oh, you got dinked by the actual bite. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll show you. Alright, let's say you did have to go see a band. Who would you see?
Masayoshi Takanaka.
Ooh, that's a good choice. Every time I listen to my copy of the Rainbow Goblins, I think of you. I now have a fond attachment to that album, and it's your fault.
Aw.
Not to get wholesome on you for a second there.
The answer would have been Daft Punk less than a year ago, but not anymore.
I take it. Is it because of the World Alive tour? Because man, that's a fun watch.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd ever done that again, if I had been a music listener, if I'd been less of a baby when they were touring for that, I would, like, if they had toured again before breaking up, I would have gone anywhere, just about anywhere in the States for sure to see them, anywhere at all. I like their music so much, and I would have gone just anywhere. I'm gonna die.
Yeah, Daft Punk. I would do it.
Series of some unfortunate events there. But yeah, since they're not together anymore, Masayoshi Takanaka it is.
That's a good one.
Dang. Hey. I might have managed to get a KO off of all my crag shots, but now I won't because I died. Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man. Oh, her large tail.
What's the Goblin song again? It's 7 Goblins by Masayoshi Takanaka.
Oh, sorry, Tuna, I missed your question.
Yeah, it was for Tuna.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the one where he just repeats the word goblin.
That's that one.
Yeah, I know.
Goblin. It's so good.
It is a lot of fun.
I'm coming back. Good job soloing her.
I admittedly zoned at one point.
That's okay.
I won't lie to you.
Nobody saw it.
Shoot me! Ah! You ran away.
We're gonna gobble on Thanksgiving. I don't know if we're gonna do a Thanksgiving cast. Probably not. I mean, I'm gonna probably stream on Thanksgiving, but I don't know what I'm gonna get up to. We'll see.
You're gonna give thanks.
At least we have a paintball on her now.
Very true.
What's the most turkey-like monster? Gypsaros.
Don't like that. Hypno?
Hypno's
No,
up
you're
there.
right. Hypnocratress is turkey-esque, I would say. As someone who's never really eaten turkey, like, cooked in that sense, though, I've had, like, cold cuts. Does it taste distinct from chicken?
Yeah. A little richer. A little darker. It's not like an incredibly unique meat, but it's tasty. I like it. It's definitely a lot lighter weight than ham or beef.
Hammer beef? Damn. You Americans have all the good stuff. Wow. That sure is telling of where we're both at. I made a dumb pun. I would never do that. Sorry you all had to hear it. It's a bit drier. That just means someone in your family needs a talking to. I actually watched like the Cooking Network sometimes, and whenever I see them cook turkey, they're just like, okay, peel the skin back, and now take an entire stick of butter and just jam that sucker under there.
That's just American cooking.
Yeah, I'm excited for Australian Christmas again this year. Last year,
there's a bear.
There is a bear. And there's also an Ozarus. I've been here the whole time.
But she's leaving.
Yeah, I'd be scared of Ozarus too. Do you see how big and menacing he is? But yeah, they just jam sticks of butter under the skin. And there seems to be something inhumane about that, but I can't look away.
They do worse stuff to it too.
What do they do to it? They like jam it full of onions. And lemons.
Onions and bread, yeah.
Have I
For
seen
stuffing.
Red Civ? Yes, I've seen Red Dawn. You fool! I can blast away now. Know of the turducken? I'm familiar with a turducken. Somebody say nice iframe right now.
Oh, it broke as soon as she landed. What a scam! Nice high frame.
Thank you. It can't be you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad that you unpromptedly told me nice iframe. Hit that sick
Yeah.
nasty. Thank you. Thank you, Ryu. See? See, is that so hard? Just validate me every time I do the bare minimum. And I'll keep on streaming for you.
Phal, has anyone ever told you that asking for compliments about iframes is the using evasion +3 of asking for compliments? Or getting iframe compliments rather? Kind of screwed that up. But you get what I mean.
I get what you mean, but I'm not using evasion +3. In fact, I'm using God. Something.
No. I mean, if you ask for compliments and you get them like that, it's like as if you were using evasion +3 and you got the iframe.
I mean, while you're right, I'm just gonna boss it. I'm okay with this.
All right, good night, Big G. Cheers.
Sleep.
Gotta talk to more people that aren't Marths.
Yeah, we can play Halo. I'll go 23 and 12.
What is that supposed to mean? Keep making these jokes now? What jokes? I keep making what jokes? That's not a Marth tip joke. That's me.
Yeah, that's a monster. Typical monster for fans. Making jokes. what was it that little wiener kid from Legends of the Guild say? He would say, like, this is Gravios or something like that. But he would say it enthusiastically, so we know that it means...
This is Gravios.
Yeah. It was never, like, quite that bad, but I don't remember a single word that he said.
That's not even a pun.
Yeah, he did puns. But I did not do puns.
No, you just said something that sounded like it should be fun.
Hey, look. What I'm saying, it's not right, but it's not far off either.
Gnarly Kuga.
Yeah, Gnarly Kuga. Yeah, that's way better. That sounds correct. Rattlers? Yeah, that's alright. Making me work for it.
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh no. We forgot to reapply the paintball.
We sure did.
And by that I mean I forgot to reapply the paintball.
I mean,
You
I
applied
have
the first
paintballs
one.
too.
Yeah, but you also applied the first one. It's just
She's headed to
polite.
6, it's fine. Finding it fun after the evening of Blade Master shenanigans to do some gunning.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I would do a little gunning if I didn't have to make an entirely new armor set for it.
It's kind of rough, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I hadn't made this armor set, I wouldn't be gunning right now. I don't want to take on a high rank pink Rathian with a low rank Ludroth armor.
Yeah, she's not very polite.
Neither is this bear. Oh geez, she went for you. You got both of them. Whoops.
Very nice.
Oh gosh. Shoot. I was close to full health too.
I feel like we always are.
No.
I feel like we always caught on the final 100.
We sure do.
I like it. It keeps us humble.
It does.
And that's a good way to go about it. Oh.
That's Monster Hunter, folks. I don't know what that is.
It's like Looney Tunes, but from an oil tycoon who's only heard of Looney Tunes.
Do you like our bodies just clipping inside one another?
I do. It kind of looks like...
Look at our name.
Yeah, it kind
That's
of reminds me of
horrendous.
Persona 7. Oh, you don't like how
PMNIACLHAECLIEN. That's the name of the podcast.
Oh, see, I've been validated. Ryu apparently didn't even hear me say it. Easy clap. But we did it. That's Monster Hunter, folks. Yeah, that's a good way to just close it out every time.
I've had fun talking with you and playing with you tonight, Falcon. I hope you had a good time.
It has been, as always, the best time. My spirits are ever so high.
What have you got going on? I know you've got quite a bit coming up soon, don't you?
On Sunday, I have a Farewell to Shadowbringers LGBT charity stream featuring some good friends, some good raids, and some good fun. I have put a lot of effort into it.
I was about to
excited.
ask, how would you describe the amount of effort you've put into this, so that folks have an accurate description of like how much that will have meant to you by the time it's all said and done?
It has been a lot of coordination. I've learned a lot, shall we say. It's been a lot of coordination, a lot of effort. teaching people things and helping them get up to snuff. But when all is said and done, I think it will be worth it. Ideally. What about yourself? What are your plans? Sticking on with 3U and then also World on Saturdays?
Yeah, pretty much. Last Saturday we did Portable Third for somebody's birthday. I think I have one other birthday stream coming up soon for GU. It's for Kazuki's birthday. I gotta double check with them when they want me to do that. But in any case, I'm gonna be mainly playing Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. We've gotten to high rank recently. Finally made our first mixed armor sets in the game, which you can see in front of you. I'm looking forward to making some more mix sets for different purposes and just starting to clear through high rank. So far, it's been really fun. Pink Rathian is really quite challenging solo, and so was Devil Joe. And that was a nice intro to high rank. It's just like, hey, I haven't played high rank in a couple months between Freedom and 3U, so it was like, oh yeah, I get to start getting into this tough stuff now. I'm looking forward to more of it.
The meat and potatoes. How nice.
That's about it, though. I'm gonna do some holiday streams on Thanksgiving. Just I don't know. I like having a stream on holidays for folks to come and hang out. It feels cozy.
Yeah, I like to do the same thing around Christmas as well.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Thank you for spending an evening with me. It's been pleasant, as per usual.
It has been. To anybody who has come by our stream for the first time, feel free and leave a follow on either myself or Mr. Phallison's stream. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link to Phallison here in my chat. Give him a follow if you want to watch that immensely cool charity stream going on this Saturday.
Same deal with my good friend Rist.
But yeah, I don't know. Outside of that, I don't know. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we sign off here, Mr. Phal?
I think after this, I'm gonna go die in my bed, and I think that's gonna be real fun. But I've had a good time.
Dive or die?
Dive. You pick whatever's syllabically more fun for you.
Okay. I think I'd prefer if you dive into your bed and then return to us again once more.
It sounds good. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being yourselves. Ask your friends how they're doing today. Let's find someone to raid.
Yeah, let's.
Please.
Let's. There's this Phallison guy who's on. There is somebody else playing 3 Ultimate, my friend Mega Radar.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go ahead and
read
that.
I know Mega Radar. I was trying to work out why I know that name. But I do know that name.
Yeah.
And they're pleasant.
I guess look for this pod... Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I was going to say, it seems a lot of folks are playing 3U at the moment.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen its uptick on like the Monster Hunter circles where folks have been revisiting the game and enjoying it and going much faster than me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad folks are enjoying it. All right. Look for this podcast on YouTube. I have a link to that and a couple other things here in the chat right now. Y'all can take a look at it if you'd like to. But aside that, I hope you guys enjoy Mega Radar's stream. I will see you guys tomorrow with some more Monster Hunter, and you guys can look for Phallison streams coming up in their Discord and on their Twitter. Phallison, I hope you have an excellent next couple of days, man.
And to you, buddy.
Folks, I hope you guys have a nice night or a good day, whatever time it is where you are, whatever season it is where you are. Cheers. Happy hunting. Yeah.
Be good. Take care. Be good to Radar. And be good to yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night, folks.